that meet us in the middle, not the end. Our fathers and our brothers marched away to war. They fought the kind of battles we could see. Now the enemy is hate, killing in the name of God. The gift of freedom was never free. Who will stand for freedom? Who will rise to the call? Who will stand up and be counted when our backs against the wall? Who will lead the celebration when our heroes come back home? When you're proud to stand for freedom, you won't stand alone. You'll never stand alone. Vietnam in 1 and 2, united we were there. Still duty calls and takes our sons away. So raise the flag to guts and pride, to tolerance and love. There's no time for compromise, just time to pray. We're pulling down our borders, the tide of change is here. The daring and the brave shall find their place. Bring your children, bring your future, earn the right to belong. Come in the name of peace, that's all it takes. Come on, who will stand for freedom? Who will rise to the call? Who will stand up and be counted when our backs against the wall?
TGIF, everyone. This is Dottie with the Cruise and Travel News Update for October 23rd, 2020, brought to you by the Snoot Factory. For all the latest in pooch fashions, here is today's top story. Travel Weekly reports selling sanitation. Companies are marketing upgraded cleaning. In a former world, the one that existed before the COVID-19 pandemic, travel brands did not want customers thinking very hard about issues related to cleaning and sanitization. We've always tried to keep our cleaning part of the business behind the scenes, Tammy Ruth, Marriott International Senior Vice President of Global Sales, said during a recent webcast. Not anymore. These days, Marriott properties are not necessarily waiting until the wee hours of the morning to clean their lobbies. Instead, cleanings are often conducted midday. It might seem like a small operational shift, but this move by Marriott is in many ways representative of the travel industry, where airlines and hotels especially have taken to branding their cleaning programs and entering into high-profile branding partnerships while also making frequent and public announcements about cleaning procedure upgrades, big and small. Delta now promotes the Mayo Clinic as a partner, while American is partnered with Vanderbilt University. The branding partnerships extend to well-known sanitizers. To name just a few, United is partnered with Clorox, and American is aligned with Purell. Hilton, Delta, and Amtrak have forged partnerships with Lysol. And Wyndham, Marriott, and Four Seasons are each aligned with the infection prevention solution provider, Ecolab. Travel companies, though, have not drawn the line at naming familiar brands as partners. They've also taken to branding their own health safety programs. Delta, for example, has Delta Clean. Alaska Airlines has Next Level Care. Hilton has Clean Stay. And Norwegian Cruise Line has Sail Safe. Other stories making the news? According to Travel Pulse, Americans can look forward to cheaper flights this holiday season. Safety for Sea reports canceled cruise season has a severe economic impact on Alaska. And BBC News reports, will cruise ships return to Venice? The links to these stories and more are available on our website, www.bestatsearadio.com. snoot.com. And that's the cruise and travel news for today, brought to you by The Snoot Factory. www.thesnootfactory.com for all the latest in pooch fashions. Stay safe, everyone.
Coming to you live and commercial-free from the Best at Sea Entertainment Studios in sometime sunny Central Florida, this is the Really Big Broadcast with Tom Drake, legendary comedy magician John Ferrantino, the producer Dottie Colassa. I'm BJ Odom, the voice at Best at Sea Radio. And today we present the Long Island Magic and Comedy Block Party, starring Jackie the Joke Man Martling, Mr. Mind Magic Joe Silkey, the Joke Sniper Mike Grief, and the smartest guy we know, Peter Bales. Today's program is brought to you in part by the Long Island Expressway. Do you feel like your life is coming to a slow crawl? Well, then take a ride on the LIE, and it will come to a dead stop. And now, here's the guy who has run out of ways to insult himself, so now he's going after highways. Tom Drake!
There you go, and welcome to the Friday edition of the Big Broadcast. Casual Friday. Look at this. I parked the collared shirts and look like an old. There you go. Mine's too tight.
And Dottie's got her stealer.
I got nothing. You got nothing. I look like an old Jewish guy in Delray Beach right now. Hello.
What time is tea time?
I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be on the program. This is a program I can't imagine. It's unbelievable. Let me cover two things really fast. The music that gets played as we go on to social media. I mentioned it before, but I must mention it again. That is Greg Bonham, fabulous singer-songwriter from Australia, who he sadly lost about 3 years ago now. And we all love the song. It's very inspirational. We have to play something that's kind of royalty-free, and I believe that is because I don't think that Greg's family will care that I'm playing that song. So that's why we play it every day, and we love that song. You can go on to iTunes and Spotify, all of the Apple Tunes or whatever the hell it is, and you can find that song. It's called Who Will Stand by Greg Bonham and download it, and it's an absolute wonderful song. The other
nicest human being in the world.
Without a doubt. Never said a bad word about...
I know, I couldn't even get him to say anything bad.
Never said a bad word.
I told you that story. I go, do you ever say anything bad about anybody? He goes, so we saw this comic. It was the worst comic I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, on a ship in 45 minutes, he didn't get one laugh. Yeah. And Greg was just sitting there like this. Yeah. And I go, now's your chance. What'd you think? And he goes, God bless him. He tried.
That's it.
I go, that's all you got?
Even my act, he left it alone.
He would laugh. He would laugh so hard.
Also, everybody is hung up on renewable energy and recycling. So BJ and I decided we'd recycle. So the opening was from back at the end of August, early September. I think we're going to do that we can do it every Friday because every Friday it's the same group of knuckleheads. So we can just keep doing them over again. It doesn't matter. The other days, everything changes. One of the reasons I didn't bother, not that they're not real guests, but they're like part of the family. So I didn't bother putting a collared shirt on or do anything really good.
How you feeling, BJ?
Actually feeling pretty good. And my doctor told me something yesterday that shocked me.
Yeah. Bet she was a man.
No.
You should be using an air fryer?
No. But we were talking about depression and, not being able to do any shows and things like that, during this COVID. And I asked him, I says, well, do you think there'd be any way I could do a show? And he says, well, if the audience is more than 6 feet away, you wore a mask, and you wore gloves, which I don't see myself doing that, but that was his answer. But then he went on to say, I guess he thinks that I travel the country with my little comedy show. He said, airplanes now, after COVID, are the safest way to travel because they have new circulation systems. It's all been redone. He says, if you wear your mask, he told me again, wear gloves. He goes, I would feel safe having you on an airplane, which just blew.
It's not the plane; it's the airport.
Yeah, especially
yeah, like Miami, it's like the evacuation of Saigon every day.
We talked about this. Dottie and I talked about this during our 3-mile walk this morning. We are going to track down somebody from Norwegian Cruise Line in the engineering department to come on and talk to us about what Captain Kristovich mentioned yesterday, that in dry dock, they're putting these new state-of-the-art air filtration systems on the ships. They're really investing millions of dollars into making them what will be the safest place. And I said, Dottie, tell them we can even make the engineering department seem funny. You know what I mean? We're not going to make fun of the guy, but we'll goose him enough to make it worth watching. But I'm very interested. I was a little surprised when Captain brought it up. It was very good that he brought it up. So we'll go further. We forgot to mention or talk about yesterday the flight attendant who got slapped by the woman who wouldn't wear a mask all the time. Are you out of your mind? This is a federal crime. You're just going from from LA to New York. Just put the mask on and shut up. But to slap a flight attendant, it's not.
I think they were going from Miami to New York. It's not like it was,
Well, that's there, right.
flight.
That's it right there.
There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah.
There was another person on the plane who videotaped the confrontation. So if you go to the website,
I saw it. Yeah, it's crazy.
If you go to the website and click on the picture or the title, the headline, you can watch the video. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Lindsay told me she was flying first class back from St. Martin, and the guy across the aisle from her had a mask on, and every time the flight attendant turned around, he'd pull it down. Yeah. And then she called him like 4 times. She said, "Sir, you got to wear the mask." He goes, "Oh, okay. Turn around, take it right off."
There's always.
So she took a picture and sent it to American. They gave her like 40,000 miles.
There you go. But the same goes with cell phone. Look, the rules are screwy anyway. Now they're kind of lifting them. But remember, you couldn't use your cell phone during takeoff or landing, and there was always one person who wouldn't stop using the cell phone. And sitting next to me in the middle seat one time, I said, you're not supposed to. It was a young girl, 20 years old. You're not supposed to use it. Yeah, whatever. I don't think she's going to crash the plane. It's about not listening to authority. Just wanting to defy authority. It's just that stuff. Listen,
starts with the parents.
Does it ever? Absolutely. Also, at the risk of channeling Rush Limbaugh or any other overhyped talk show host, I would remind everybody, almost from the 3rd week we were on the air, I have been telling cruise lines that they should brand with hospital, with Jackson Memorial and with Mayo Clinic and the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins, and the medical center on the ships shouldn't be a profit center. It should be a place of comfort and security. And if it costs you money, it costs you money. Well, they haven't done it, but here they are. They're branding now with Clorox or whatever. No, they're not doing it. The airlines are. The airlines are branding with hand cleaners and stuff like that to show people. And even one airline, Delta, I think is branding with Mayo Clinic. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what the Mayo Clinic is going to do on an airplane. The reality being they're not, you just follow the regulations that they put out. But on a ship, if the doctors are on leave from the Mayo Clinic or on leave from Johns Hopkins or on leave from Cleveland Clinic, not on leave from Peru, it's a whole lot more comfortable when you got a problem. And for the life of me, I don't know how they can't grasp that. I don't care what it costs. Medical centers.
No, I agree. I mean, some of those doctors, like Richie used to say, 8 years of medical school, they're on the ship. What are they hiding from?
We're supposed to be positive about the cruise industry. By the way, we send our best wishes to our pal Bob Rio. Bob he was cleared with his heart, but now he's
got vertigo.
Got some vertigo.
But the way to describe it is every time he watches his show, he gets dizzy.
So do I.
Oh, I've had vertigo going for about 100 episodes now.
There you go.
My mom used to take meclizine, motion sickness tablets for her vertigo. That's what the doctor prescribed, because it's the inner ear that's imbalanced, the fluid in the inner ear, and meclizine corrects that.
Okay, so all right. Oh, John, I got
Stapes and the anvil can't neutralize.
Oh, yeah.
The two bones, the Stapes and the anvil can't neutralize.
Oh, okay. There we go.
All I know is the doctor gave me exercises when I've had
for your ears.
No, I mean for really. You're
vertigo.
Lay on your bed, turn real quick to the right.
Oh yeah. I heard that. You sit up really quick, right, and move back and forth.
Yeah. I don't think it ever helped me. I've always, whenever I get it, I'll have it for 2 or 3 days, and it sucks.
I had it one day. Remember, Tom? I got up and it was like everything was spinning.
Usually, if you have it for one day, it's like a sinus thing that affects that same inner ear.
You told me the day we met, you felt a little dizzy.
Did you hear that song the whole time? Dizzy,
I know one.
So dizzy, my head is spinning.
I know no one has ever heard of Tricky Rick.
I couldn't think of one word other than dizzy.
Girl making me spin,
making me
dizzy.
I can't believe Dottie knows all the words to that song. All I knew was dizzy. I was fake. I was faking.
I knew I had to make you mine.
Now I know it. Now that you're singing it,
I remember the drum part. Dump, 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 dump. There's a really cool drum part in that song too.
I remember Dottie saying, "I don't want to be on the show. What would I do?" Anyway.
So last night was the debate. Not being political, but I just realized watching. We live in such alternate universes. I watched like ABC, their thing at the end. They were saying Biden clearly won. Then I flipped over to Fox and they went, Trump won 79-21. It's like everybody, it's like.
Said that actually.
Oh, there was this scroll that came up. I took a picture of it because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but Chris Wallace did not back Trump. John, the other one, not one other one, Brett Barrett, not Brett Barrett, Brett, the other Brett, Hume did not back Trump. I mean, you'd be surprised if you watch that network how little.
Oh, like I said, I just flipped over and saw a graphic, and I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Well, that's why you watch it. Make up your own mind. But I've always said that. Why would I?
Do you really think? I mean, at this point, there's people that watch that and went, "Oh yeah, now I know who I'm voting for."
I got a headache from watching it. I got a headache from the two of them.
I hope for Biden's sake, everybody in Pennsylvania has already voted. Anyway, let tell you this story. The Joe Buck, Troy Aikman thing that I mentioned.
Yeah, we're talking about they were.
Here's what happened. What happened was that was not before the game started. That was sound check. They have a sound check like an hour and a half before where they check the mics. And they're doing a sound check and a plane flies over the stadium because the McDill's right around the corner. So an Air Force jet flew over the stadium, and it seems that at lunch that day there were some young members of the left, and there was a discussion about flyovers. And one of the members of that discussion got into a rant about a waste of taxpayer dollars and yada 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 yada. And so now they're doing a sound check. That's all. That plane flies over. Joe Buck starts to do that, there's your tax dollar. And they're breaking this kid's balls because they know that they're listening in the sound check, in the booth, in the truck. So, and Aikman goes, and someone at lunch had said out loud, you'll never see that in a Biden-Harris administration. So these two guys were yanking the chain of one of the techs, right?
Good spin.
Well,
good spin.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth.
Good PR people.
Well, I got to tell you the truth. So Joe Buck says, my dad was wounded in World War II, has a Purple Heart. My grandfather was in World War I. I'm just never going to say that except for what we're doing now. Thing is, somebody in the truck clipped that piece of sound, put it together with the video, and sold it to put it out there. So now that person is going to be looking for another job in broadcasting, more than likely at CNN or CBS.
They're going in a different direction.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So anyway, I believe him. I believe him because if you look at Troy Aikman, that's why I was so shocked. If you look at his past, he's a Texas boy. I mean, the Alamo, fly the flag. These guys aren't, I could guess where their point of view is. But anyway, I thought I would mention that. So, all right, that's all the stuff I have to carry. We have to go quick because Joe Soki joins us at 10:45 with Mind Magic. And did you get the email, John? Today you need a piece of paper and a pen to be able to tabulate numbers and or the calculator on your phone.
I'm not real smart. I'm using the calculator on my phone.
Me too.
So just in case we have some people that listen to us that don't own a phone, like Jeff Zabrowski.
Please, I'm so over it.
I'm just kidding, Jeff. Be ready with a pen and now I'm out of it. I have both a pen and a paper, but if I have to start adding and subtracting,
I'm sure it's not a lot of numbers.
You let me know.
I got my old Casio.
Yeah, it's Friday. Also, I'll be very clear on this. As soon as the guests start to arrive, we are finishing on time today because I'm not whining. But the fact is, when the show is over, downloading the Zoom video, splitting it up into separate interviews, putting it up on the website, putting it up on the podcast, putting it up on the website audio takes me about 3 hours. And then we're going to go vote. And
Nice.
And then we're going to go to early dinner. It's Friday, and we're going to get out. We're going to wait in line as long as it takes to build up a thirst.
You may be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people I've talked to said the biggest, longest line I've seen so far during early voting, they said, was 1 hour. But most of it, I don't know, Lake Wales is not a big city. Yeah. We walked in and walked out, basically. Day one, first day of voting.
Well, I think because they're 6 feet apart, it seems longer than it is. How long?
Yeah, from the time I parked my car till the time I left was less than 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think.
But the thing is, when they, like you said, the lines look worse because even online they have you 6 feet apart from each other, and they're only letting. Well, our place they're only letting 6 people in at a time. So when you register and everything, there are more people voting than that. But it was 6 people at a time, 6 people at a time, so everyone could, distance.
All right.
And it went really quick. And then they give you a thing that after you vote, you leave it in the booth, and then they come and they clean the booth. It's pretty organized.
Yeah, they were good at that too. Yeah, they were like, as soon as you would cleaning the pens that you sign with, and you do the ballot, everything. They were like,
they wouldn't even let us. They wouldn't even take the pen back. They go, that pen is yours. They made you sign your thing with a Q-tip, with a long Q-tip, so they could throw it right away. It was kind of cool.
Dottie, do me a favor, look this up because I didn't get a chance to do it. I'm talking to Bobby last night, Bobby and St. Jane. Remember I told the story about Jane tearing it off where it says do not tear.
Right.
Well, she called the election board and they laughed. They said everybody does it. They said that what you tore off is only what we sign to say that it's legal. We're going to tear it off anyway. So you can tape it and then send it into us. And I said, Bobby, why are you so lazy? Go vote in person. He goes, we can't vote in person in New Jersey. They don't have it. You have to vote by mail because of COVID-19. You're not allowed to vote in person. I go, get the hell out of here. I never heard of such a thing. So I forgot to look it up. Just check in New Jersey. If
you may only be able to vote on election day. I think you have to be able to vote somewhere on election day.
In other words, you can't.
Yeah, they may not have early voting.
All right.
I would think. I'm just guessing. I'm doing a Bales.
Yeah. When you admit it, it's a guess. That's the when you stare right at the camera and tell you that's a Bales. So anyway, I just was curious about that. Not that my buddy Bobby would be wrong. And I had talked to him before 7, so that means the conversation was somewhat normal. After that.
It says New Jersey will mail a ballot to all active registered voters for the general election. You can also vote in person. New Jersey offers early voting.
See that?
Lazy.
Why do I listen to my friends? Bobby, you should have went and voted.
I think
it just says check
constitutionally,
your county.
Yeah, I think constitutionally you have to be able to vote in person.
I think so, unless there's
especially on election day. I mean, that would be.
Now, my wife did something, well, it's not really strange, but she had a mail-in ballot, but I didn't. So we went together and she took her mail-in ballot. She said they put it in an envelope and they sealed it and they threw it like behind them. She goes, those will be the ballots that they find at the bottom of the ocean or something, the ones that they're not being able
Did she fill it out?
counting.
They deactivate it.
Did she fill it out?
No, she never filled it out.
Because that's we got absentee ballots because we thought we'd be back to work, but it clearly says if you choose to vote in person, bring it with you.
Yeah, she did that, and they took it from her.
Yeah,
and they put it in an envelope and just threw it in the back.
But they deactivated it on the computer.
Yeah, she voted at the booth, but they took it, put it in an envelope, and threw it in a box.
This is funny. Not funny. This is strange. What to bring. If you voted in New Jersey before, you do not need to provide an ID to vote.
I never understood that.
Because you're in the computer with the picture.
Oh, okay.
Really?
And also, if you're voting for the second time, bring a gun. It's Jersey.
I would say, what's the harm in asking for a photo ID?
Exactly.
That's.
I mean, when they took my license, right? Because you have to put an ID. Mm-hmm. The woman said, drop it in the bin. And I had to drop it in the bin. And she picks it up with one of those squeezy clothespins and looks at it and then drops it back in your hand. They're pretty. I mean, they got every angle covered.
Yeah,
which,
well, they have
you
to.
know. Yeah, exactly.
But I will.
I wasn't
admit
complaining.
this.
I thought it was cool.
Everyone that was in my voting place, that was the volunteers or whatever, they were all senior citizens. So I mean,
yeah,
they're brave.
BJ, were you ever a third base coach in baseball?
No, I never was anything in baseball.
It's
I'm like, hey, what are you saying, man? You know what I'm talking about? I'm like one of those Indiana guys that talks with his hands,
You're not even Italian. In that little square. It's like a drive-by hand. And an elbow comes up. So anyway, today is National Boston Cream Pie Day.
Oh.
Yeah. Never had it. Is it good?
Really? It's two layers of they said it was yellow sponge cake.
I thought it was like a pudding.
Yeah, with custard. 2 layers of custard and chocolate. It's very nice.
It's my wife's favorite donut, by the way.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I won't go out of my way to get it, but it's okay.
And I don't know what Dottie posted on the air on her Facebook today, but I want to eat that.
Pumpkin bread pudding. Yeah. Hello.
The next one is I had a couple of minutes. By the way, something happened with the email.
Oh yeah. The next one is I have to bring that up on my iPad because it was I always thought it was going to be like a spy or the thing that goes in your ground or something on your face. It's called Mole Day.
Yeah, National Mole Day. And I thought it was going to be mole. Isn't there something in Mexico that's like a hat or something?
Mole.
Yeah.
It's isn't that the green stuff they give you with food? It's like salt. No. No. It's green salsa.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mole.
So what is it, John? It's
okay.
So bizarre.
Okay, so a mole is a unit of measurement used in chemistry to express the amounts of chemical substance. I can't even get Avogadro's. Avogadro's number is a number term used closely related to the Avogadro constant. And then it goes into one of those explanations. More specifically, the celebrations take place between 6 a.m. and 6:02 in the U.S. The time and date are written as 6:02:10:23. The time and date are derived from the Avogadro's number. It is approximately 6.02 times 10 to the 10th power 23, hence defining the number of particles.
No.
I was like, I just got to bring that up. It's like it's like what that little girl in her garage found.
Sounds like the space stuff.
All I know is the moles used to tear up my backyard back home.
It is called National Mole Day, and I'm right away. I'm thinking of the things that tore up your backyard, and so I look it up, and it's a day that's celebrated by chemists and also people that make meth. They're kind of borderline chemists. It's chemists and chemistry people. It's a day they celebrate the mole. So I'm happy.
And again, watching The Sopranos, all they do is make fun of that fat guy's wife. And the one guy goes, "Did you hear she went into the doctor? They removed a 98-pound mole of her butt." And he's getting whacked because the guy's husband hadn't found out about it.
Hold on a second, a little music.
Yeah, that was a surprise one for me. The Mole Day.
Greatest song ever recorded. And I played it because it's not only Johnny Carson's birthday, it is National TV Talk Show Host Day, which they celebrate on the great one's birthday. And I don't think anybody's going to argue. Late night television.
Greatest host of all time. Of all times.
And those guests, when Rickles would be on and Dean Martin would come around the corner, or Sinatra or Jimmy Stewart, it was just, you compare like a panel with Jimmy Stewart and Don Rickles to Conan O'Brien and Jim Gaffigan and somebody else.
They're all. That's why the old Dean Martin roasts work, because everyone was a legitimate celebrity, that a household name. Where the new one now, you're going, who's that guy? I went to, I started mentioning yesterday, I did go to the Tonight Show once with Rory and Robert Klein. And I got there early and I got to walk around the set. And the producer goes, sit in Johnny's chair. I go, no way. And she goes, no, you can sit in Johnny's chair. I go, no. She goes, well, sit in the guest chair. I go, no. I go, I'm not sitting in that guest chair unless I'm invited. So she goes, well, look what's behind Johnny's desk. You gotta see what was behind his desk. Rubber chickens, chattering teeth. I think he bought the whole catalog from Warren. He had all that stuff there. I mean, it was really like, it's very funny. It was really like a secret thing as a comedian, being on that, like at that desk and everything, where you just think about all the legends that were there. And this I thought was so great. The show starts, right? And Doc, they all come out, they do stick, like what was saying, the bald band guy in the band. Yeah, Tommy Houston had that big comb with no teeth in the middle. He's combing his hair. Ed McMahon came out and did like 20 minutes of dick jokes to get the crowd warmed up, which I was shocked. I was like absolutely shocked. And then all of a sudden he goes, but we got a great comic for you tonight who's hosting the show. And you see all the people are so excited they're going to see Johnny. And they go, he's a young guy. He's taking over the show. And you see everyone's face just like drop. And they go, but I think he's going to be an up and coming star, and you're lucky to see him tonight. You may have not seen this guy before. And you see the whole crowd just sink. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny. And they go crazy because they thought they were going to see Jay Leno.
Oh, I thought it was Leno when you went. It was Carson.
It was Carson. That's how they brought him on. And that's why, like in the beginning, when the crowd goes crazy, because apparently they've done it for years. They make like it's going to be a guest host, So then when Johnny comes out, they go insane. And I went insane. I was like, I was sitting there going, I'm not going to see Johnny, And then we left. We went through the back door when we left, and Johnny's Corvette was there. And it just said, Johnny, you never took a limo. He drove his Corvette. It's a very cool experience.
I'll tell this story fast because we have to catch up with birthdays and the rest of it. But I have a Tonight Show story. David Say and I went out to L.A. I was trying to get David back on the Tonight Show before Johnny retired. David had done 12 appearances. So first we went to the Improv and tracked down Jim McCauley. And Jim McCauley said, listen, Robin Williams wants on the show, Seinfeld, Billy Crystal, everyone wants on the show. I love David, but I don't know that I can get him back on the show. So now we're going to fly back. And Leno's hosting the Tonight Show. And David says to me, Jay invited me to the show, but I don't want to go. I go, are you out of your mind? We're going to go. We were flying midnight, the red eye. We're going to go to the Tonight Show. So he calls back and he said, we're coming. Can I get 2 tickets? He doesn't tell Jay. So we go and it's Lou Rawls. I forget who's on the show, but anyway. And so we watch the show, and when it's over, we get up. We're in a VIP area. We get up and we walk down. The guy moves the rope, and we walk onto the set of the Tonight Show. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm talking about. That.
And for when we talk about David Say all the time and who he is and everything, we turn the corner. And Freddie DeCordova was the executive producer of the Tonight Show for almost all of his time. We turn the corner, and Freddie looks at David Say and goes, David Say, where the hell have you been? We thought you died. He goes, how you doing, Freddie? I've been busy. I don't know how David is, right? He goes, good to see you. Shakes his hand. We turn the corner. Tommy Newsom goes, David Say, my God. Now, this is a guy who did 12 Tonight Shows. You know how many comics have appeared on that show, right? David's that kind of guy that just makes an impression. Newsom goes, hey, David, we're always talking about you. Where you been? He goes, I've been busy, right? What happened is, the aggravated Johnny's what happened. So now we go back to the dressing rooms, and Jay Leno was in his dressing room changing into a tuxedo to do a promo for New Year's Eve. He doesn't know we're coming. So he comes out of the dressing room, and he's, Jay's big, and David, he doesn't see David. And David goes, hey, Leno, nice friggin' suit. But he doesn't say friggin', right? And Leno's handler's like, who the hell is this to talk to Jay that way? And Leno turns around and goes, David, you told me you weren't coming. And he picks David up. He goes, I can't believe you didn't tell me you said you weren't coming. He goes, yeah, I changed my mind. He goes, David, let me introduce you to my manager, me. He goes, this is Tom Drake. And he goes, yeah, how you doing? Right over. And he goes, so why are you out here? He goes, well, we're trying to get back on the show, but it's not going to be easy or whatever. He goes, how you been? And David goes, good. He goes, do me a favor. Let me give you my phone number. Next time you come out, call me. We'll hang out, for God's sakes, right? So he turns to me and he goes, you got a pen? I didn't have a pen. He goes, you don't have a pen? What kind of manager are you? You don't have a pen. Somebody get me a pen. So he writes down David's phone number. 6 months later, Leno's in Florida at Sunrise Music Theater in Fort Lauderdale. I'm telling David, this is 20 plus years ago. I said, David, call him. You got his number, call him. See what he's doing. Go down and hang out with him. So he calls him. And he goes, Jay, it's David Say. He goes, David, how you doing? You finally called me. Hey, David, before you say anything, I got one question. David goes, what? Did your manager get a pen yet? Does he have a pen? Where to go? And it turned out Leno was flying. He flew in from Burbank on the jet, arrived in the afternoon, did the show, and flew out right after the show, right back to Burbank. So they didn't get together. But I'll never forget that. Hey, David. And so
well, it's funny how those guys, those backstage guys and the band guys remember everyone.
Yeah.
I was in California with Michael Carbonero. He was doing Conan, and he asked me to come out and write his set for him because he goes, you know about doing late night TV and doing props and everything. So if you could do this for me, I'd really appreciate it. So he flew me out there. So right before he goes on, I'm standing there and I got him by the lapels and I'm doing the Rory pep talk. Yeah. Listen, man, you're here tonight because you deserve to be here. You know how many comics would like to be here? Yeah. And all of a sudden this guy walks over and goes, John Ferrantino. And I go, what? He goes, I was your prop guy on the Sajak show and Comic Strip Live for 6 years. How you doing, buddy? All of a sudden, like Carbonero just goes, what do you know, everybody? It just makes you feel really good now.
It's funny. Donnie does every day. Donnie does the same thing to me. At like 10 minutes of 10, she grabs me by the lapels and said, you deserve to be in that bedroom. Now get in there and make me proud. You deserve to be in that bedroom.
Rory used to do this pep talk. That was amazing. Like when I went to do Pat Sajak, and it was like only the 4th or 5th week, I think it was on. And I'm getting ready to go on. And it's my first big national show. And I'm behind the curtain. And I'm really scared because I'm really far back from the audience. Rory had me move me next to the band. Rory goes, just play to the band. You know what I mean? Don't worry about how far away. Because I was like 60 feet away from the audience. Yeah. And you can't even see him with cameras. And I'm getting ready to go on. I'm behind the curtain. It's really nerve-wracking. And the guy walks by and goes, we're at 4.2 million tonight. I was like, just what I want to hear. And Rory grabs me by, they go, right after the commercial, they're going on. Rory grabs me by the lapels. He's going, listen, man, you know how many comics are in this business wishing they were here tonight? But you know what? You're the one that's going to be on the show tonight. You're the one that's going to be there. The only way that you can screw this, it was like Bill Belichick talking to a player. The only way you can screw this up is if you talk too fast. You got to talk slow. And if you think you're talking too slow, slow it down even more. No, go kill him. Right. And you walk out and then all of a sudden you walk off the show. And I had a pretty good set. Yeah. And I walk off and Roy's walking backstage with a cell phone going like this. Somebody dialed 911. There was a murder out there. He's a great manager. Great manager.
It was great stories. Hold on a second. We had to do this, Daddy. Quickly, how many birthdays? Oh, it's Friday.
Friday.
Hot on. They did it right? Hot on.
I'm just calling to wish you a happy birthday.
Is your pooch behaving better than the man in your life? Treat your favorite pooch to the latest in pooch fashions at the Snoot Factory. Our first birthday today goes out to someone that, well, everyone but BJ knows, Kevin Warner.
Hey, Kevin.
Kevin Warner's birthday is today from our NCL days. Per Oren from Oceana as well. Happy birthday from McKeesport, Pennsylvania, Rick Tack, a good friend from way back at the Renzi Pool days. You know who else's birthday is today? Silky.
Ooh.
Yes, I just saw that.
Yeah,
Silky. I thought you said today. Silky. I was like, oh my God.
No, Silky. And also from Australia, Paul Hill. Our weekend birthdays include Mickey Finn tomorrow. Happy birthday, Mickey Finn. On Sunday, Richie Sachs from our NCL days. Danny Bucco. Danny Bucco.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Tyler and Bryce Kalasa, our great nephew twins, our great nephews from Pittsburgh. Doris Weber from Oceana Cruises, Patty Lappin from New York, and Donna Wharton, originally from Wilmerding, Pennsylvania. It's our sister-in-law's niece.
And Patty Lappin is Tom Horian's mother.
Oh, very good. All brought to you by The Snoot Factory, www.thesnootfactory.com for the latest in pooch fashions and fabulous facial masks. And that will be the only birthday for you, so happy birthday, everyone.
Happy birthday.
I know what's worse, wearing this mask or watching the Jets.
I actually had my Jet shirt on. I wore that when I went to the bathroom. Then I changed it with this on. Real fast. Okay, Johnny Carson's birthday. Let's pick one. I'll go real fast. I put Chichi Rodriguez in. He's born in 35 because they list him as a Puerto Rican American golfer. Terrible by Wikipedia. This guy did so much for the game of golf.
37 tournaments.
Yeah, but not that. The way he was as a human being, still alive. I was surprised.
Is that the guy that used to pull his club out? Yeah. He was like, yeah. Even if you didn't play golf, you knew who he was.
He's Al Romero with a club. It's kind of the same stature and everything else.
Yeah.
But he was just tremendous. His birthday. And Michael Crichton's birthday, we could go on, but, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3, 4,
guy writes more books than we write jokes.
And I'm shocked. I didn't know he passed away in 2008. He's been gone for a while from lymphoma, from cancer.
Wow.
He also
Doug
did
Flutie, the original Hail Mary guy.
He was a doctor. You know that, right? He graduated from Princeton, I believe, as an MD.
Well,
that's why.
But it was.
He never practiced medicine, but he was a doctor.
He played for Boston College, so he must have went to Princeton for his MD afterwards. So,
we never mentioned that Johnny Carson started out as a magician.
Yeah, he loved magic and drumming.
Yeah, he started out as a magician when he was 14 years old.
And he loved it. And he would have magicians on.
He would never have comic magicians on because he felt they were sacrilegious to this art of magic.
Really?
Yeah.
He wasn't.
He went to Harvard Medical School.
Harvard, after Boston College.
Unbelievable.
And
never practiced. Cruise ship wouldn't hire him.
Let's go real fast on this day in 1915. And I've cut these down today because we never get to all of them. And John does all this research. And we never get to it. Then we go to the stupid criminals. We never get to that. We never get to anything.
I'm getting smarter.
Yeah. As part of the women's suffrage movement, 25,000 women marched up Fifth Avenue demanding the right to vote. That was in 1915. Then they marched up Fifth Avenue in 1916, 1917, 1918, 1920, 1962, 1964. It seems like every 3 or 4 months, there's 25,000 women marching up Fifth Avenue for
It's a good thing we're in different rooms.
Oh, buy a vacuum cleaner. Do something with it.
Oh, that's even worse. As everyone on the set goes, ooh.
I think I'm going to be able to hear that fight all the way to Winter Haven.
Man.
25,000 women. Come on. We not.
And they're able to walk those parade routes because they have the right to vote now. and their voice matters.
That whole
still got the evil eye. Oh my God, Tom, I feel sorry for you.
The whole march thing just doesn't make any sense to me.
The what?
The whole marching thing. You were marching. You marched for everything.
Of course I marched for everything.
To stop the lunar eclipse. You were marching.
We were very adamant about stopping the war in Vietnam.
My doctor told me it's good to march every day.
What for dimes?
No, just march.
Get it?
Just march
Play
around
on
the
words.
neighborhood.
March of dimes.
You can march every day, BJ, but wear a mask and wear gloves. That's all. Very important. You wear gloves when you march. Right away. Even if you're marching around your bedroom, wear gloves. It's very important.
Susan makes me.
We all remember this. On this day, in October 23rd, 1973, the price of gas went up 400%. Remember those lines?
It was 35 cents a gallon.
That's all it was?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
When I first got my car, it was like
the research.
19
It was
cents
30.
a gallon.
It was between 35 and 40 cents a gallon. When I used to have my ice cream truck in 1960, summer of 68, gas was 23.9 a gallon.
So this isn't what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of when we had the shortage. This is different then. When we
that's the start of the shortage, 73.
And that was crazy.
Yeah.
Waiting for hours and hours.
To have odds or even number. Yeah. So the odds could get it on one day and the even would get it the next day to break down the lines. and I had a car with an odd and an even license plate.
That's where I got lucky. I lived on a farm. We had our own gas pump.
Wow.
Get gas.
We had, for the tractors and stuff, you'd have your own gas pump.
Yeah, but somebody has to put gas in the tank.
Well, I could do that. I knew how to do that.
No, we're talking about the storage tank.
Oh, well, yeah, they came out and did that. I mean, yeah. It's like,
my point is, when there was a gasoline shortage, I would start to think that certain people would get at the short end of the stick. So in your case, you probably don't know. Your father probably paid a fortune for gas filling that tank, maybe double what he normally paid. But you were in
my car.
Huh?
I know it went in my car.
You were in the salon going, nice curlers.
It's funny because in those days, like the average price of a house, like a beautiful house, was $19,000 and $12,000 for a regular size house, according to that thing that I read.
Well, I built, let's see, 53, 73, 70, 74, I think. I built a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house, 2-story, 2-car garage, and I built it. I was the builder, not physically, but it's a great story. I designed it and hired everybody to build it, and you can do that in the state of New Jersey and in where I grew up, as long as it's your house and you're not a builder selling the house, it's your own house. And I had long fights with the building inspector because I did whatever the hell I wanted, and it was Tom Drake, and it was it cost me $55,000 to build a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house, brick front, 2-car garage on property. And but I wanted to change things on the second floor. The framers were up on the second floor, and I decided to move a wall. I was the architect, so I took a marker and I said, let's put the wall over here. And the building inspector climbed up the ladder at the same time. I'm moving the wall. He goes, you can't just move a wall. I go, why not? It's my house. He goes, you have to redraw the plans. I go, you're standing here. I'll redraw them. You'll look at them. Look at him moving the wall. He goes, you have to. That poor guy. I think he ended up killing himself over my house. It was all over. 43.
Yeah, it says the average new cost of a house was $32,500. Average income was $12,900. Average monthly rent was $175.
Now, what
40 cents, 73. 40 cents a gallon. 45 cents for eggs, and a Ford Galaxy 500, which was a pretty exclusive car, was $38.83.
Yeah. Well,
I had a MGB GT Deluxe hard top fastback in 72, and the total price of the car was, I think with tax and everything, was $3,900. Because I had ordered a Datsun 240Z, and that whole car was $4,900.
It's we have to get Joe in here. It's an argument or a discussion we have sometimes on the ship when the guests are mentioning that they don't have this anymore, that anymore. This was when we were on Holland America, and the guy was complaining about everything. And you think about what a cruise cost in 1973 to what a cruise costs now. It costs more in really did when you factor things in, and you look at what milk cost back then to what it is now. And I try to explain that to a guest that, that's why you should be paying $32,000 for the cruise. And
this is funny. A crock pot was $17. Men's paisley pants were $24.95, and a mod clock was $150.
Yeah. And I had a pair of men's paisley pants. BJ, do you have those on the farm? Paisley pants?
I wore a paisley a suit to the prom.
And you were a long-haired hippie drummer, right?
Oh yeah, I had blue glasses and everything. I was like quite the hippie freak.
Oh, you need to bring some of those pictures.
Oh yeah, I was like.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to
do. You with longer hair, BJ.
That's what we got to do next week.
Oh, I was in rock bands and everything. I don't even know if I have any pictures from that. But yeah, I was in rock bands. I hung out with the wrong people. That's what my mom would always say.
That's what we have to do. We have to put our senior pictures in the box next year, next week.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, not for a video, but let's put them up there as our senior pictures as a joke. I have the same haircut then as I do now, so I won't even look any different.
We're staying on time today, 10:40.
The Big Broadcast is proud to present Mind Magic with Joe Silky.
We welcome to the program Joe Silky. And before Joe, I just have one question. Did you know on this day in October 23rd, Apple released its first iPod capable of storing 1,000 songs. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Well,
You learn something new every day here.
Well, I wanted to get, that was the last one we had, and it's possible John might have more information about that. Did you have an iPod, John?
Yeah, I still do have it. I still use it in the backyard for my music.
Really?
Yeah. It still works. It still works. Yeah.
Johnny has something, an MP3 player. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the iPod was the white one.
Sport cassette player too.
Yeah, I have one of those. The yellow one.
The yellow one. I think we talked about that.
But yeah, no,
it still works.
Steve Jobs invented it.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Apple.
I got up this morning. I went to call Joe Silky, and his number was deleted from my phone. It's like it was my lifeline. It was gone. I couldn't believe it.
And how did that happen?
I have no idea.
It was a new app I put on my phone. I blocked him.
He didn't even know it. He unfollowed him. He wasn't even aware that he had been.
I know. I was like shocked
from your life. Anyway, we welcome, if you're first-time listeners, first-time viewers, Joe joins us every Friday, and he's been doing that for months with something called Mind Magic. In the beginning, it was magic on the radio, but now that we're all over social media, we also take advantage of virtual background. I don't know today if it's going to be the old-fashioned way or the new-fashioned way, Joe.
It's a little of both. It's so I said you're going to need, the math. Don't worry about the math. The math is really simple. I was able to figure it out, so it's really simple.
And I'm using the calculator.
I got my calculator.
Calculator or a piece of paper and a pen or pencil.
You know me long enough. I ain't real smart, Joe, so I'm using the calculator.
How you doing, BJ? You all right?
Good, thank you. Yeah, good.
Yeah, the interview went good yesterday?
Yeah, they took me off some of my drugs, so that was really good.
Oh, no. For the show you're going to do.
Yeah, anytime you can lose a pill, I'm happy about that.
Okay.
BJ and I kind of share the same medicine. I take a medicine that reduces my heart rate because otherwise my resting heart rate would be over 100 all the time. And unfortunately, it's a beta blocker. And now I find out why. I'm off one on a different one. BJ's doctor said it goes after your fat and to slow your heart down, but there's fat in your brain. That we know with me. And it slowed me down where I said to the doctor, you got to get me off this. It slowed me down to the point where I just was a zombie.
To fix your brain.
Yeah.
That's your apology, Daddy.
All I know is back then I was doing the #1 morning show in Fort Myers on the radio from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I took that stuff, and about 1 week into it, I just called my doctor because I couldn't even concentrate on the air. It took me. I mean, so yeah, I said, I'm either going to get fired or you got to take me off whatever you put me on.
Were you feeling kind of bloody?
What? Kind of bloody?
Bloody.
Like Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, that's that New England and that Northeast, and I'm like real snooty.
We don't have bloody is
naughty.
Oh, I always feel a little bloody then.
All right.
Joe and I learned, brother, because Joe and I were talking about that in the car yesterday when you went, I'm not real smart. I don't even know what bony means. We were driving in the car and we were laughing about it.
John and I had a friend, Bob Dorian. He just recently passed away, but he was the host. Besides being a magician, he was the host of AMC, the movie channel.
Classic movies.
They did movies. And so he would get to go to these premiere events. Well, he got to go to the Academy Awards with Debbie Reynolds. So he was her escort. And so he's telling me the story. He goes, just what a great lady she is. I mean, she's a trooper. So she says to him, well, what do you think? Think I should wear a skirt? You think I should wear slacks? He goes, I don't know. So she takes off her skirt. She puts on the slacks in front of him. She goes, what do you think? Just like theater people changing, in front of people. And he's just going, yeah, I guess the slacks are good. Okay, well, we'll put on the slacks.
I would have said, try that skirt on again. Oh, I wouldn't have. But well, she's bawdy, BJ. I guess that's why we're
a little bawdy.
Bawdy. She was bawdy, Debbie Reynolds. But
my wife likes to bawdy a lot of stuff.
What the hell does that mean?
Buy a lot of stuff. It's redneck talk.
It's your time talk. He bawdied an arm the other day.
You can make that a story about Barbara Eden for.
Meanwhile, Dottie was really offended about the Barbara Eden story in the beginning, and that she brings up more than us.
I wasn't offended.
Not offended, but you were always like, I don't know if that's right. And now you bring it up. Twice this week you brought it up. I love it.
You know how
he says, if you guys are going to be bad, so am I.
Well, you know how chefs always have their go-to dish? Barbara Eden is Dottie's go-to line. Anyway, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter. So did you watch
the towel is the go-to line.
Don't show the towel. But did you watch the debate last night? Yeah, but Barbara Eden didn't. Huh? No, don't do it. All right, so we better hustle. We got coming up.
So put me big on the screen so they can see my little stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
That's
still.
all right.
No, I'm on the medication. BJ
got his brain fat going.
Okay, so
hold on. I still think we're gonna have a problem. Hold on a minute.
No, we got it.
Okay, nobody popped up. Yesterday, I was having trouble with Elliot because I had it in speaker mode. So every time someone spoke, which wasn't very often with Elliot, so I thought I talked to that guy. Went for 52 minutes and came up for air twice. It was so pretty amazing.
that was good. That was fun. And then you said about the
dead air.
Guests from the north, from the northeast. They don't, there's no downtime.
This guest. Otherwise. So. All right.
So we're actually going to do something with colors, but first we're going to start with, you need a number. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of a number between 10 and 20. Okay.
Now you put that on my calculator?
You can put it on your calculator if you want. Let me just tell you what you're going to do. You're going to take those two digits, whatever they are, and add them together. And then you're going to subtract that new number from your original number. And that's going to give you your secret number. So don't tell anybody that number.
Wait, you got to start over. This is harder on a calculator than you think.
Okay.
It really is. No.
All right.
Okay, wait, hold.
So
I feel like Tom. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's go. Again.
So you start, you write down a number between 10 and 20.
Right. Add those.
Now you're going to take those two digits, you're going to add them together, and you're going to get another number. So like if it was 11, it would be 2. Okay. Now you're going to subtract that new number from your original number. And that's going to be your secret number. That's the number we're going to use, or you're going to use. All right.
Got it.
Calculator's making this much more complicated now.
It is, right?
All right. So we're going to do a little scientific test of colors. Okay. We got blue, orange, yellow, and red. Okay. And let me just, so what we're going to do is we're going
green,
to start,
right?
And green. Yep. Very good.
Attention, see?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to count and we're going to assign a number to each color. All right. So blue is 1. Orange is 2. Yellow is 3. Red is 4. Green is 5. Now we're going to start again. Blue is 6. Orange is 7. Yellow is 8. Red is 9. And 10 is green. Okay. So now I want you to concentrate on the color that your secret number landed you to. So you should all have a color. Now, what I'm going to think is, let me see where I am in my little screen thing. Okay. Okay. So I would say our listeners, there's nothing yellow about them. Okay. So we're going to take away yellow. Okay. And this is free for all Friday. It's a fun day. So nobody should be blue. Okay. Now that just leaves 3. That leaves orange, red, and green. But I don't think anybody should be feeling green or sick today. So now we have orange and red. Now, I think our listeners and everyone that's doing this is pretty fiery, passionate. And so I think everyone that selected the right color would have red.
Red it
You're
is.
a genius,
Red
man.
it is.
Red it is. Well done, and I applaud you for not doing a Trump joke with orange.
Or red and blue.
Yeah, that's right. Blue states, red states.
Well, there's no flies on me.
Hey, I got it.
That was cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
There you go, Tom.
Right here.
Paper would have been easier, though. It was too complicated.
It was hard on the calculator.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I figured.
It was hard on the calculator. It's like when you add the two numbers, then you want to subtract it, and then I got the two number twice. I was like, I just got to go to paper.
Yeah, no, it was a simple, I try to do these things because I'm horrible at math and spelling, so I try to keep these.
You are?
Oh God, yeah.
How do you? Because I mean, how do you do all this number stuff if you're like?
Well,
takes-
it's hard to figure it out, but it's not like real math.
It's not like figuring out the mole number.
Right.
The mole.
Yeah.
The
There's
mole.
so many things National Mole Day could be besides
I know.
the day that chemists get together and pound their beaker. Yeah.
But
That doesn't sound that bad.
Tell you what, if Barbara Eden was a chemist,
Oh, here we go.
beaker, I'll tell you that right now. I dream of beaker. All right.
but now you invent a lot of these things.
Dottie, on the Halloween show on that Friday, you should dress up as Barbara Eden.
You have to get the costume.
How funny would
You have a
that
Barbara
be?
Eden costume in here by
We
any
should
chance?
all dress up like Barbara Eden.
All right, we're gonna go do this 11 a.m. break. We'll be right back. Well, as long as that button works. I love this. There you go.
TGIF, everyone. This is Dottie with the Cruise and Travel News Update for October 23rd, 2020, brought to you by the Snoot Factory. For all the latest in pooch fashions, here is today's top story. Travel Weekly reports selling sanitation. Companies are marketing upgraded cleaning. In a former world, the one that existed before the COVID-19 pandemic, travel brands did not want customers thinking very hard about issues related to cleaning and sanitization. We've always tried to keep our cleaning part of the business behind the scenes, Tammy Ruth, Marriott International Senior Vice President of Global Sales, said during a recent webcast. Not anymore. These days, Marriott properties are not necessarily waiting until the wee hours of the morning to clean their lobbies. Instead, cleanings are often conducted midday. It might seem like a small operational shift, but this move by Marriott is in many ways representative of the travel industry, where airlines and hotels especially have taken to branding their cleaning programs and entering into high-profile branding partnerships while also making frequent and public announcements about cleaning procedure upgrades, big and small. Delta now promotes the Mayo Clinic as a partner, while American is partnered with Vanderbilt University. The branding partnerships extend to well-known sanitizers. To name just a few, United is partnered with Clorox, and American is aligned with Purell. Hilton, Delta, and Amtrak have forged partnerships with Lysol. And Wyndham, Marriott, and Four Seasons are each aligned with the infection prevention solution provider, Ecolab. Travel companies, though, have not drawn the line at naming familiar brands as partners. They've also taken to branding their own health safety programs. Delta, for example, has Delta Clean. Alaska Airlines has Next Level Care. Hilton has Clean Stay. And Norwegian Cruise Line has Sail Safe. Other stories making the news: According to Travel Pulse, Americans can look forward to cheaper flights this holiday season. Safety for Sea reports canceled cruise season has a severe economic impact on Alaska. And BBC News reports, will cruise ships return to Venice? The links to these stories and more are available on our website, www.bestatsearadio.com. And that's the Cruise and Travel News for today, brought to you by The Snoot Factory. www.thesnootfactory.com for all the latest in pooch fashions. Stay safe, everyone.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Well, I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
All right, let's see here. I got music somewhere.
All right.
Time now for another episode of Back to School with Bales, starring Professor Peter Bales. And playing the role of the unruly student today will be comedian and renowned Hollywood tough guy, Mike Grief.
And welcome to the program. Before you guys begin, I want to put a moratorium on any Barbara Eden lines. There'll be no discussion of Barbara Eden for the next hour.
Oh, I was going to change that opening, and playing the part of Barbara Eden is.
And by the way, I was told by Bob Rio that my mic sounds low on Zoom. So if I'm a little hot for you guys, just lower your headphones. I jacked it up a little bit. Anyway, welcome, Professor Peter Bales. And, and welcome, Hollywood's renowned tough guy, Mike Grief. And I want to say publicly, we appreciate you being here every week. No one receives any money. They get a T-shirt every now and then. You got the Max Tocelli model on today, but we thank you for being here. Pips? Yeah. And
You're muted. Lower
you're muted,
left.
Mike.
Lower left, Grief.
You're muted.
Mike,
I'm
you're
here.
muted.
I am here. I had no idea. I had no idea. I've been watching this morning. I had no idea this show has developed an unhealthy obsession with Barbara Eden. I had no idea this was going on. And I heard what you said, Tom, about banning any mention of Barbara Eden during this segment, but I want to go to Dottie right now. I'm going to skip ahead. Okay? Dottie needs to apologize for missing an important birthday. And it happened in 1910. Dottie, you should get looking this up.
I do today's birthdays of people that we know.
Oh, well, do you know anybody who was born in 1910?
No.
You should.
Well, my mom was born in 1916.
Hayden Rourke, R-O-R-K-E. Hayden Rourke. This is an important birthday.
Is he on the F Troop?
Was that Barbara Eden's dad?
Barbara Eden's dad. There you go, BJ.
Dottie's going for it. R-O-R-K-E. Hayden Rourke, an important birthday. Who is this man?
It was the Colonel in I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes. Yes, thank God. Yes, remember Dr. Bellows.
Dr. Bellows.
Yes.
Dr. Bellows.
All right, so I want to check. Mike Grief, you are working. Your microphone is on. All right, so
Can you hear me?
We hear you now. All right, perfect. All right, I'm just
for a minute. I felt like I was at the debate.
I'm trying to roll here, and first of all, you're getting bigger laughs than I am, and you haven't even done anything yet. That's pretty irritating. All right, we're celebrating a great American birthday, Hayden Rourke, Dr. Bellows, from I Dream of Jeannie. And I guess we're done. Are we done with all of that now with the Jeannie stuff?
You brought it up.
I didn't bring it up. Well, I kind of did. I was
but
ready.
not that night. But not that night with Barbara. You didn't.
No, what are you talking about? All right, let's move on. All right.
On his gravestone, it'll say Barbara Eden with a question mark.
This week in history, Tom.
Yes,
I'm ready.
You're ready.
I'm a good student.
You are, Tom. You're doing well. The
I'm
rest,
taking notes.
all right.
I read the book.
Yeah.
I'm taking a leak. I got an adult diaper on. Go ahead.
Well, you fit right in this show.
You know, you got a lot of confidence, Mike, that you think people are going to think you're kidding about that adult diaper.
I don't care what anyone thinks.
Hey, I'm
Ladies and gentlemen, back
on long rides, right, Tom?
Yeah, exactly right.
back in 1861, the first transcontinental telegram was sent from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco. A telegram. Has anybody here ever sent or received a telegram? An old-fashioned, Dottie, you have?
Yes.
John has, but it was a technicality. It was actually a stripogram, which was actually something developed.
I actually still have it. It was from Ray Romano when I did the Pet Sajak show.
He sent you a
telegram.
They still have.
That said, what are you doing? Stop.
What year was that?
I was like turn of century. What I don't know. It was like 82 or 84. They still had
telegrams.
I have a telegram that my mom and dad received when I was born.
Oh, see,
yeah, I got one of those too. Yeah,
I have a telegram to my my bail bondsman.
He's on speed dial.
Now he's on
one
fire.
for Dottie.
Oh man, she's banging him out today.
It's gonna be the Dottie show.
The telegram operator on the Titanic's last words were,
No.
"Hey, I don't think this is working." All right. Well, I just want to mention the telegram. Most young people don't even know what a telegram is. And the first one, Lincoln was on one end, and it happened in 1861. And they were using the telegram to get reports in Washington about the battle. So it was actually functioning pretty well during the Civil War.
And to order some Chinese food.
Wasn't the original telegram came on like a ticker tape and they stuck it on the paper?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Because that after they stopped doing that, they called them mailgrams. And it was printed, but like just would look like a telegram.
Yeah. Well, you know, the last person who delivered me a telegram was named Misty. I had to pick her.
Was she dressed as Barbara Eden?
And she
another one for Dottie.
She's over her hesitation in mentioning Barbara Eden, I think. All right.
You want a piece of me?
All right. Well, this is kind of connected. 1915 was the first transatlantic radio message. Radio, different from a telegram. 1915. Now, that's very difficult to do. Anybody who knows radio knows that the signal, for some scientific reason, doesn't travel well from the United States across the Atlantic to the ocean. A ham radio operator will tell you that. You know where it does travel? From the hump of Brazil, that hump in South America that sticks out into the Atlantic Ocean up to Europe. You can actually connect by radio that way. And that's why Brazil, especially northeastern Brazil, was such a Nazi spy hotbed during World War II. I bet you didn't know that.
So from our country, we don't have a big enough hump?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, the only reason you said that is you wanted to get the words hump for Brazil. You can win a bet by saying, I guarantee I'm going on the show Friday. I will get the words hump from Brazil in there.
You know what, the word hump always reminds me, every comedian will tell you their first set they ever did. And the jokes that they had were so embarrassingly bad. Tom, you know what I'm talking about. When I started out in comedy, I made fun. Road signs out there. I couldn't believe it. I was driving along. Sign said Hump In Road. And there was some guy standing under it going, "Hi, how you doing?" I did pass the audition at the comic strip.
That's funnier than some of your stuff now. Balls, party of two.
That is classic. That is classic. All right? John Tarantino was standing under the sign that said Dippin' Road.
Hold on 1 second. I have to make this announcement before the Messiah arrives. It's still quite a time from now.
Okay.
But we are going to finish up on time today because I do have a lot. When the show ends, there's a lot of work to do to put it up on the internet and the website. And we're going to go vote today and then go out and have an early dinner. So we're going to try very hard to finish up at 12:05. So I need help because, Jackie's going to go till 2.
I got to tell you, this is the only show I've ever done where before I go on, I have to worry whether or not I've gone to the bathroom.
Well, definitely.
I just went in the break.
Going now. But, hey, I dropped my ballot off at a Dropbox yesterday, which is amazing here in California. You wouldn't think that it would be made of cardboard outside the Salvation Army, but
it's good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go
back to class.
Thank you.
Okay.
1879, the great, and I do mean great, Thomas Edison tested a light bulb, and it was considered successful because it burned for 13 hours. 13 hours. The big thing in getting a light bulb to work was the filament. And they tested literally thousands of them. And it was an amazing success when one stayed lit for 13 hours.
Was it tungsten?
Yeah.
Yes.
The first time?
You know what?
No, it's tungsten now, but was it?
Was it tungsten? Watch me pull a bales. Tom, watch me look right in the camera and say, yes.
I thought it was wires.
Here's a little trivia about your light bulb.
That
Edison perfected the filament to the point where a light bulb would not burn out. And they distributed them and found out that people weren't buying light bulbs. So he offered everybody free light bulbs if they bring the old one back and then had them so that they would burn out. And that's a fact. That's a fact. That's not a bales.
That's a Jersey thing.
He has pulled a couple bales this week, though, Peter, just so you know.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Thomas Edison, of course, the ultimate absent-minded professor. And that expression originated when the genius, Thomas Edison, showed up at his laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey, without his pants. Without his pants. And absent-minded professor comes from the fact that he was so occupied with formulas and math and engineering.
Stealing from Tesla.
And stealing from
Tesla.
Well, that's a controversial subject. But the fact is he had so much going on in his mind as a genius professor that he forgot his pants. That explains why he forgot his pants. Hence the expression absent-minded professor.
Which is what they're now calling Jeffrey Tubin.
I was just going to say the same thing.
We're not going there.
Hey, I'm starting a new chat app calling YouTubing.
We're all going to go there. Who got there first? That's all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in 1942, Rommel versus Montgomery at the famous Battle of El Alamein in North Africa during World War II. The previous tank battle the United States was involved in before Iraq. Absolutely. And actually Operation Desert Storm.
And they lost that battle at El Alamein.
El Alamein? Well,
Yeah.
not ultimately. No, I mean, Rommel was ultimately defeated. But I wanted to ask you guys this. There was a television show growing up.
I Dream of Jeannie?
What?
I Dream of Jeannie?
A lot of tank battles and I Dream of Jeannie.
All right, no, I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, the hash.
The Rack Pack.
Dream of Jeannie was a great show, and I used to watch it and Tubin. But I heard Tom, I'm asking, there was a show inspired by El Alamein and the tank battles, and as kids, and me and you, John, it was obviously a low budget show on ABC. They had a Jeep, they had a machine gun on the back of the Jeep, and a bunch of guys.
Joe got it.
What did it say? It.
The Rat Pack.
Yeah. Oh, Joe got it. The Rat.
Yeah.
No, not the Rat Pack.
The Rat Patrol. Rat Patrol.
Rat Patrol.
Rat Patrol. Oh.
The Rat Patrol. Right. I can imagine Sammy Davis Jr. with a machine gun. Yeah, the Rat Patrol was a great show. Yeah. Good for you. All right. The Great Battle of El Alamein, eventually North Africa liberated.
How come you went over the Cuban Missile Crisis?
I went over the Cuban Missile Crisis because I knew you would start telling a story.
Well, don't you remember that? Is that one of your most horrid childhood memories?
Well, that's what I was going to mention, John. I was young and I was not aware of it at the time. That's why I bet you're about to say you were. This is the anniversary this week of President Kennedy going on television and telling the American people essentially what a jam we were in, that the fate of the planet was at stake. I'm glad as a child I was not aware of that, because I probably would have been psychologically affected.
I think that was Kennedy's greatest moment. That's when he challenged the Russians and backed them down.
He's absolutely. See, Mike, that diaper is not too tight after all. You are absolutely right.
No, I can still tubing.
And
that's in Webster's by now.
Look, I mean, we're talking about the end of the world here. What kind of a class is this? All right, now
you're younger than us, right? You weren't in school like John and I, where we had to get under the tent.
Same age as I am.
He's not.
Yes, he is.
Really? How old? I'm not. I'm.
How old?
I'm proud to say I'm 66. I know I look younger.
Okay, so that's why you didn't know it. I'm 4 years older than.
Okay, well, good.
That's why I was like 12. That's why I.
Okay, so you were aware of it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was.
It was everywhere. It was everywhere. We had to get under our desks.
We didn't worry about it in the farm.
I mean, I'm not saying I was the brightest kid. I said it yesterday. I thought guerrilla warfare, we were really fighting gorillas. And that's the God's honest truth.
He kept hiding his banana.
It's not spelled the same way. Guerrilla warfare.
I didn't see it spelled. I heard it on the radio.
Planet of the Apes was real, man.
I said that. I thought it was like a Planet of the Apes.
But you know,
it was also that term wasn't used that much back then.
No, it wasn't. Ironically, America in the Revolutionary War, we were the guerrillas, hitting and running, no uniforms, blending in with the townspeople. And in Vietnam, the tide was totally turned, and the enemy, the Viet Cong, they were the guerrillas. So history goes round and round. But this, we're glossing over. It's just so frightening. The world literally came within an inch of being destroyed by nuclear war. And Mike Grief is correct. This was the greatest foreign policy victory for President Kennedy in light of his greatest foreign policy defeat. Now, there's a quiz question for all of you. What was President Kennedy's greatest foreign policy?
Bay of Pigs.
The Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
John, you might remember that was a nightclub in Huntington early on.
It was Zach's Bay on the weekend.
Now, was the Bay of Pigs an attempt on Castro?
Yes.
It was actually an attempt sponsored by the United States, at first secretly, to sponsor Cuban freedom fighters to take their island back from Castro.
They left them.
Operation Mongoose was the ill-fated attempts the United States made to assassinate Castro, including loading up his cigar with explosives and trying to poison his food, putting debilitating powder in his boots, because the CIA, in their brilliant,
they went about it totally the wrong way. I got a friend named Joey. You send them over there 10 minutes.
That too. They sent Sam.
They sent a lot of guys.
They sent Sam Giancano's girlfriend over. That didn't work either.
Actually, after failing to hit Castro, the CIA did seriously considered employing the mafia to do the hit, because the mafia knows how to do a hit. But they just couldn't seem to figure out how to get a fleet of black Cadillacs from Florida across the water.
I'm sure the mafia would have loved to take him out, because he ruined all their casino business, right?
He did, absolutely. That's true. That's true. And the Godfather movies so brilliantly showed that. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Godfather movies. All right. Good.
Okay.
We're done talking about the end of the world. Any
Yeah.
other comments?
We're good.
All right, 1945. Let's put a positive spin on this. The United Nations was founded. And they actually had the founding conference in San Francisco while the war was still going on. Early 1945, Roosevelt died. President Truman said, I continue to support this. They worked it out. They got the charter together. They got the countries together. And then finally, it was October 1945 when they formally signed the United Nations Charter. And we are off and running with that organization, tasked with keeping world peace and stopping World War III. The United Nations, which I think is mixed in history, certainly. You know why it's mixed? You know why the United Nations has been so frustrating?
Why?
Because the power in the United Nations is in the Security Council, where they can authorize the use of force. And on the Security Council, there are 5 permanent members: the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, France, and China. And each one of those 5, and then there are 15 rotating members.
They
but
cancel each other out.
5, yes, Mike, that's exactly right. Each one of the 5 has the veto, the capital V, and they can vote 19 to 1. And if the 1 is one of the 5 permanent members, an action can be vetoed or stopped in the Security Council. And for the entire 60 years of the Cold War, the Soviet Union and the United States voted to veto the other person's resolutions. They were on the opposite sides of everything. And that really neutered the United Nations during the Cold War in many, many ways. So there.
I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell are we going to make this funny before it's over?
I know.
Come on, man. They were playing golf
And
together.
Peter's,
The United
and Peter's
States and
thinking,
Russia.
I just spoke for 6 minutes without being interrupted for the first
No,
time.
no, and I'm thinking is, I'm talking about the Security Council of the United Nations. Where's Mike with a dick joke? Where's Dottie with I Dream of Jeannie? I need help here. Where's John
It
coming
was
in here?
interesting. It was interesting.
No. This is when I expect John to interrupt and say, I remember I visited the United Nations, and then tell a story.
Never.
Yeah, I performed there. Rory got me a gig right there. It was great. Ray Romano stopped by and said, what are you doing? It was a big day. It was a good day.
Hey, how about Russia,
I mean, I'm looking at the faces across the top of my screen here. You're all looking at me like, oh my God. This...
Because, Pete, when you talk for too long, my mind goes to its happy place.
I can tube it again, huh?
Barbara Eden?
Thank you.
Full circle.
All right. Well,
All
here's
right,
a
here we
big
go.
look. What? Go ahead.
I can't see that low. What's next?
All right. 1983, the invasion of Grenada. There it is. You might remember that. John, I'm sure you have a story about it.
I have no idea about it.
Grenada?
Yeah.
The United States invaded. Do the ships stop there? That's a serious question.
Sure.
We do now, yeah.
Wow. I've never been there. Is it as beautiful as they say?
First
I
time
had
was
friends
there was
that went to liberate Grenada, so I
1980.
remember it.
They landed in the Club
1989.
Med. They parachuted into the Club Med, and people are going, what are these guys doing here? We ran out of food at the buffet last night. What the hell's going on?
Well, actually, when I worked in healthcare before I started on cruise ships, and some of the residents went to school in Grenada, and that's exactly what they looked out and they're like, "What's going on out there?"
Ronald
They
Reagan
took over the school.
Ronald
What's
Reagan
that?
was smart. He
I
picked
think
up
they took over the school. I think that was
Might
part of
have.
the guerrillas. The guerrillas. The
the other gorillas.
Hey, Tom, you're right. Ronald Reagan was president. He was the one who ordered this. And it was the Marines and Army Rangers invading Grenada to take it back from a communist regime that had been imposed. And the United States enforces a policy that's been in effect since 1824 called the Monroe Doctrine. And the United States basically believes the Western Hemisphere is our hemisphere, and if there's any problem, we'll handle it. That's what the Monroe Doctrine essentially is. And Ronald Reagan lived up to that and invaded Grenada and got rid of the communist regime that had temporarily taken power. It was 1983. The United States, I should say, needed to flex some muscle after Vietnam. Let's be honest. And Mike, you said you knew somebody who was in that invasion. Mm-hmm. There was a comic at the time after the invasion who had a great line. It just makes me laugh to this day. You know, people from World War II, people from Korea, people from Vietnam have true war stories about their experiences. And somebody, a veteran of the Grenada invasion, will say to his grandkids, "Wow, I remember taking part in that invasion. That was one hairy weekend."
The Island of Spice. Actually, Pete, there were people shot. I don't know if there was anyone killed, but I know that there was a lot. I think there were some people killed, and there were, so not as many as a real war, but
Hey, Mike, did you see the reaction to what you said about people being shot? Now you know how I feel. All right.
Now I know how you feel on
We
stage.
try not to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm trying to behave myself today, Pete. I'm giving you the spotlight.
I love you, Mike. I want to hear, what goes on in your mind, because I have a
don't get your hopes up.
We better keep it moving. It's 27 minutes after the hour. Right. The Messiah is zooming in.
All right, we got to keep it moving here.
Hey, sure.
1881, the birth of the great artist Picasso. Now, Mike, I'm sure you look at his work and go, "That looks normal to me."
I'm sorry. That's cracking me up.
I don't see anything wrong with it. It does look normal to me. Every woman should have 3 boobs.
Every painting in Mike Grief's house, you scrape off the paint, there's a number underneath. Remember Paint by Numbers?
Hold on.
Okay. 1915. This
Barbara Eden.
No, BJ, nothing to do with that.
Oh, way to go, Grief! Get me in trouble, and I'm being a good boy.
That must have been my BJ Odom voice.
Was that BJ or Joe? That was Mike.
Nope, it was Mike.
Bob Kane.
Batman.
I am like a teacher here. All
Joe
right,
just answered your question.
What? Who said
Batman.
that? Joe. Batman, the creator and the cartoonist of Batman. I mean, the original. And I think that's a tremendously notable achievement. Bob Kane, 1915. Remember that name. And I wanted to ask you this, Tom, John, all of you. Growing up, comic books. I did read them as a kid. I got to tell you, I was a DC guy, not a Marvel guy. Some people were Marvel guys and not DC guys. Do you have a memory about that? Anybody?
I was a Playboy guy.
I used to watch Spider-Man was like the comic I loved.
I was mostly a Marvel guy because DC, I mean, Marvel just had more interesting superheroes.
And more violence and gore.
More violence, yeah. Come on, Hulk smash! Come on, love that.
I'm once again impressed that not one person said I was AC/DC. we kept that so kid-friendly there for a second. That was very good.
Right. Okay. Good. Well,
I read Batman. I bet Batman.
Hold on. I'm tubing. Anyway, what you say?
I read books. I read the Hardy Boys series. That's all I ever read.
I read Tom. I read every single Hardy Boy book. They were terrific. They were absolutely. Remember the name of on the front of the book? It was by some. Do you remember the author? And it wasn't his real. Tom Knox or something like that.
Yeah.
The Hardy Boy books taught me to read.
Yeah. Same way.
They, do you remember in the comic books the letters to the editors in the back? That was the funniest. There'd be like a paint splotch on the eye, and the guy goes, "I noticed that in last month's issue, page 42, caption 3, there was a red spot in Batman's eye." And they go, "Because Batman, if you notice 3 things back, it was obviously a mistake, had walked by a reactor, and it was on the right side." And they made it some like bogus thing. It was great.
Hey,
I remember behind every comic book there was that ad with a guy kicking sand in a little skinny guy's face on the beach.
Yeah.
I didn't know you
were that guy.
Yeah. until he bought the Atlas thing and got all worked out and kicked my Yeah,
I used to hate that sand in all my hair, my clothes.
I knocked
Franklin
right off.
Dixon.
Yeah.
Franklin
But listen, I
Dixon
know the
was
Messiah
author
is
of
waiting.
the
I got to get to this one. In honor of Jeffrey Toobin, 1942. John, everybody, this is right up your alley. Annette Funicello this week had her birthday.
We
Did you
talked
cover
about
her?
yesterday. That's how I started surfing.
Did you talk about her already this
No,
week?
Yeah.
John had a story.
I just said that's why I started. I said that's why I started surfing.
You started surfing?
Yeah,
It shows you what
Tell the story, because it was an incredible wave, and when you got to shore, Rory was there saying, "Oh man, you were great." I know how these stories go.
You were bored for this board.
Come on, Annette Funicello. She got screwed. She got fired because she grew boobs.
Well, that was from the Musketeers.
Yeah, she was on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful show.
For natural development, they fired her for looking like a woman instead of a.
Right.
Yeah, well, she had that low cut Mickey
Disney's
outfit.
But what Mike doesn't want to tell you is he used to watch that show and he was attracted to Cubby. You remember Cubby on the Mickey Mouse
No, it's all before my time, Pete. These are things I've read about.
Right.
Yeah, he's the youngster here.
I'm 10 years younger than you, Pete.
You guys, you grew up with the
youngster?
banana splits.
Well,
what was your childhood TV show?
What,
Mike?
The Wacky Racers, man. You guys have no clue what I'm talking about.
No, and you know what? We don't want.
I remember the Wacky Racers.
Yeah.
The
All right,
Wacky
we got 1 minute to go. Messiah's in the room.
All right, the Messiah's in the room. 1920, last one, but appropriate for about what's going to take place as soon as the Messiah comes on. Timothy Leary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big fans on this show. He was a pioneer in the use of LSD. And I'm very anti-drug, actually. So I don't look at Timothy Leary in a positive way. But he had a lot of impact. And he was wrong. You know, he was wrong in saying that LSD was harmless. And, take these trips. It's amazing. It's harmless. Well, he was testing a drug on a generation of Americans. And maybe at first it seemed harmless, but I'll finish this thought and I'll tell you why it's not harmless. Think about the character on Taxi.
Jim.
Okay. Who's the character on the
Reverend Jim.
Reverend Jim. Okay, now that's funny on Taxi. But, you know, Tom, everybody, John, our generation, we remember real people who thought LSD was harmless and did too much of it. And then they're our age and they've never had a job and they're living with their parents. You know, so
that has nothing to do with LSD. You can't
I have friends
prove
of mine that tripped every day that have normal
lives.
Really?
I used to get LSD off of a priest in Manhattan.
Just to be clear on something, we're not doing this, Peter, to back off Jackie last week talking about all the coke he had in the car.
I know. What was that all about?
I don't know. That's just as true as all the Barbara Eden stuff is.
Okay. All right. We have to take a tab and bring the Messiah in.
What a way to end. I want to go out with a boom here.
All right. Go out with a boom.
All right.
Well, if you're a comedian and you relate to how I feel right now, I want to go out with a boom. I don't have.
But you don't have a boom.
I don't have a boom right now to go out on. I want to go out on a boom.
Get your adult diaper, and then you won't have to leave the room to do your boom.
Tom, you got me. I'm done.
Some days I think that BJ is spreading across the top there by osmosis. I feel like I have 4 or 5 BJ Odoms all in the top line up there. Let's do this.
That was very interesting, Peter.
It was great.
It was. I'm serious.
You know, if you'd have been around when I was a kid, I could have been somebody, Peter.
Jeez, you look. I can't say you look like somebody when you leaned into right there, but I'm not going to say it. Thank you. I say it every week. We have plenty of feedback from the guests.
I know.
Really enjoy this part of the show. I really enjoy this. I personally don't care for it, but everybody, everybody listening, love it. Did you let him in, Donnie?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Let me find some music then. I know I'm not supposed to do that.
Not even a breath, watch.
I gotta find him.
I hear him.
I see him. There he is.
There he is.
Full stream.
We welcome to the program. I always want to say legendary, but I'm not supposed to. So one of the funniest guys in the world, and he joins us every week. He's very generous with his time. He's here to tell jokes that he believes he could tell on a cruise ship, and the cruise director, Dottie, will be one to let us know one way or the other. Everybody give a big round of applause to Jackie the Joke Man Marlin. Everybody.
So I goes to the doctor and says, Doc, I can't get aroused. Doctor examines him. Well, my friend, for $3,000, I can do a series of procedures over the course of a month. It should bring you back to normal. For $12,000, I can do one procedure and you'll be good to go the next day. The guy says, well, I better discuss it with my wife. The next day, the guy comes back to the doctor and the doctor says, well, what'd you decide? He says, we're going to redo the kitchen.
I've had that happen.
So 4 brothers go hunting and they divide up into 2 groups of 2. And the first night, Jed comes back into camp with an 8-point buck on his back, but he's alone. And they say, well, where the hell's Henry? Oh, he's on the trail about 3 miles back. He had a stroke or something, so he's lying there. I said, you left Henry lying there? He says, well, hell, I figured nobody's going to steal Henry. A baby polar bear goes up to his mother and says, Mom, am I a polar bear? She says, of course you're a polar bear. What, you just told us?
No, I love this joke.
Great joke.
I love this joke. I'm sorry. It's funny.
Sorry. Nothing like projecting that everybody in the room knows the joke. You know,
I don't know it.
No, we don't know the joke. It's
The
just that
rabbits in Ferrantino's hat. Come on.
It's a funny joke. I'm sorry. I remember you telling the joke 100 years. Tell a joke. It's funny.
Remind me to work with you. So baby polar bear, it just takes the steam. You know, people just don't understand comedy, especially Ferrantino. A baby polar bear goes up to his mother and says, Mom, am I a polar bear? Yes, you're a polar bear. No, Ma, you sure I'm pure polar bear? Yes, you're pure polar bear. I'm a polar bear. Your father's a polar bear. Of course, you're pure polar bear. Are you sure? She says, well, go ask your old man. He goes, hey, Pop, am I pure 100% polar bear? He says, of course you're pure polar bear. I'm polar bear. Your mother's polar bear. Both of our parents, polar bear. All of our grandparents, all of us, the whole family, all 100% pure polar bear. Why do you ask? He says, I'm freezing.
I cleaned that up.
It's a big fire in a brothel. Big fire in a brothel, and a guy comes running out wearing a towel. He says to the fireman, hey, if you see a broad in a blue negligee, bang her, it's paid for. It's a little old lady on a cruise ship, and it's really windy. She's using both hands to hold on to her hat, and her dresser is blowing up. The captain comes up and says, ma'am, your dress is flying up in the wind. She says, yeah, I need my hands to hold my hat on so it doesn't blow away. He says, but ma'am, you're not wearing any panties, ma'am, and you're exposed. She says, anybody can see anything down there? It's 85 years old. I bought this hat yesterday. Big accident in the lumberyard. And Charlie accidentally cuts off one of his ears. So everybody's looking around the sawdust. All of a sudden, the guy holds up an ear and says, Charlie, is this it? He says, nah, it can't be. Mine had a pencil behind it. Guy goes to the funeral parlor and says to the funeral director, I need you to bury my wife. Funeral director says, didn't you just bury your wife like 3 years ago? He says, yeah, I got remarried. He says, congratulations. That's kind of mean. I will never stop laughing at that joke. One day in a men's club in England, and all the old timers are sitting around in big leather chairs, and the oldest guy is 95 years old. And one of the other guys says, Colonel, do tell us a tale of one of your exploits. He says, there was a time, you see, we were on safari in Africa, and we were making our way through the brush, and it was quite thick. And the porters were having trouble with the machetes. It was just so much work plowing our way through the jungle. If only we decided to stop and have a bit of a rest. So we sat down, and I sat down on a log to have myself a spot of tea, when out of the underbrush came a huge tiger. My God, I soiled myself. When the other guy says, well, it's totally understandable, Colonel, what with a tiger coming out of the underbrush? He says, not then, you blithering idiot. Just now, when I went, how do you sell a duck to a deaf person?
I don't know.
I
You want to buy a duck? Some guy stumped me with that at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, and everybody peed themselves. And afterwards, everybody's saying, what was funny about that? I don't know. It just was funny.
Funny.
So there's two women in line at the pearly gates. And the woman says to the woman in front of her, why are you here? She said, I froze to death. What about you? She said, well, I came home from work a little early, and I knew damn well there was a woman in the house. You can always tell, you know. And I looked in all the bedrooms. I looked in the closets. I ran up and looked in the attic. I ran down and looked in the cellar. And then on the way back up the stairs, I had a heart attack. The first woman says, if you had looked in the freezer, neither of us would be here. So a drunk is walking along. He's got 1 foot up on the curb and 1 foot down on the road. And the cop comes along and says, hey, Mac, how come you walk along with 1 foot on the curb and 1 foot on the road? He goes, oh, thank God. I thought I was crippled.
Another mean one.
Two guys at a party, and one guy says to the other guy, he says, look at that broad over there. My God, she got a complexion like the bottom of a parrot cage, and she got a nose like a pomegranate. My God. The other guy says, my friend, that's my wife. He says, well, I'm sorry. You're sorry. A little guy goes in for a job as a lumberjack. He said, I want a job as a lumberjack. And he sizes the guy up. He's about 5'2". He weighs about 95 pounds. He says, you want? Yes, I want to be a lumberjack. I want to work for you as a lumberjack. You got any experience? Of course I've got experience. Well, where have you worked? The Sahara Forest. The Sahara Forest? That's a desert. Maybe now. Guy gets a new job. So to celebrate, it's a brand new suit, and a pair of shiny new black patent leather shoes. Goes to a dance and asks a girl to dance. You know, I like a girl who wears striped undies. How do you know I'm wearing striped undies? I saw the reflection in my shiny new black patent leather shoes. Yes, another girl dance. He says, you know, I love a girl that wears polka dotted underwear. How do you know I'm wearing polka dotted underwear? I saw the reflection in my shiny new black patent leather shoes. Yes, another girl dance. So what do you got under that dress? She says, nothing. He says, whew. I thought I had a crack in my shiny new black patent leather shoes.
Okay.
Three guys in line at the pearly gates. First guy says, I was a union electrician. St. Peter says, union electricians, you guys work hard. You're good for the country. Come into heaven. Next guy comes up. He says, I was a union carpenter. You guys were just great for the country. You helped build the country. Come into heaven. Third guy comes up. St. Peter says, what do you do? He says, I was a union musician. St. Peter says, go around back, go down the stairs, and come up through the kitchen. World War II. And the general goes to visit the soldiers in the military hospital. He goes up to the soldier in the first bed and says, why are you here, soldier? He says, really bad syphilis, sir. Ooh, what are they doing for it, soldier? He says, 20 minutes a day with the wire brush, sir. Oh. What's your goal, soldier? To get better and to get back out to the front as soon as possible, sir. That's a good soldier. The next bed, he says, why are you here, soldier? Chronic hemorrhoid, sir. Oh. What are they doing for it, soldier? 20 minutes a day with the wire brush, sir. Oh. What's your goal, soldier? To get better and to get back out to the front as soon as possible, sir. Good soldier. He goes to third bed and says, why are you here, soldier? He says, chronic gum disease, sir. Ooh. What are they doing for it, soldier? He says, 20 minutes a day with the wire brush, sir. Ooh. And what's your goal, soldier? To get that friggin' brush before the other two guys.
Oh, God.
An executive gets a job with a new firm. His first assignment is Johnson's Nails. After a couple of days, he comes to this big board meeting. All the executives are sitting there. And he's going to give his demonstration. There's a big billboard. And he pulls down a sheet. And there's a big billboard with a cross on it with Jesus nailed to the cross. And it says, "We use Johnson's nails." They're like, "Are you out of your mind, you moron? That's blasphemous. You were fired before you're an idiot. Give me another chance. Give me another chance." A couple days later, there's all the executives in the boardroom, this big billboard, and he pulls the sheet off the billboard, and there's a cross. Nobody on it. And Jesus is running. And the Roman soldiers are chasing him. And one of the soldiers is looking out and he's saying, "We should use Johnson's nails." Guy walks in the bar, says the bartender, "Have a big beer." Bartender says, "One big beer coming up." Hey, bartender, I came in here to have a few drinks and enjoy myself. I did not come in here to be made fun of by the likes of you. The bartender said, no, my friend, you don't understand. This is the way I talk. I'm sorry, bartender. Geez, I feel terrible. I did not know. I'll just mind my own P's and Q's and leave you alone. I'm sorry. A few minutes later, another guy walks in and says, give me a beer. The bartender says, one beer coming up. The guy says, see? I knew you were making fun of me. The bartender leans over and says, no. I'm making fun of him.
Switch.
Guy's in one of those huge supermarkets. He sees an old, he says, Walter, is that you, Walter? Hey, Charlie, Walter, geez, I haven't seen you, what is it, 30 years, 35 years? How you doing? He says, I'm doing good. He says, well, you're in great shape. You look terrific. He says, oh, yeah, I'm looking for my wife. I'm always here with my wife. The other guy says, yeah, me too. He says, but, I stay in shape. I try to exercise a little. I got divorced a while back and got remarried, and things are okay. I'm just here shopping, looking for my wife. He says, I'm looking for my wife too. Why don't we look together? He said, that's okay. He says, so Walter, what's your wife look like? He says, well, she's about 28 and she's got really long blonde hair and a perfect figure. What's your wife look like? He says, never mind that. Let's look for yours. Guy gets a terrible barroom brawl, and his whole jaw and mouth has to be wired shut. So the only way they can feed him is with a tube. They force feed him through his rectum. So they have this big machine, and they put the tube in his rectum, and they force feed the lunch into him. And after about 3 days of this, one day the guy says, hey, nurse. Yes, sir? Nurse, have you any more of these machines here in the hospital? She says, yes, we have another machine. Why? He says, I want you to have lunch with me tomorrow. Oh! Guy goes, doctor, you gotta help me. I have this permanent erection. Nothing helps. It was fun at first, of course, it was fantastic for a while, but now it's crazy, man. It just won't go away. This permanent erection. It's just ridiculous. Doc says, well, let me see what I can do. So the guy pulls down his pants and puts his penis on a table. The doctor takes 2 fingers, goes, pow! Smacks the guy's penis, and a little tiny bug, whoop, whoop, hops off his penis, and the guy's penis goes, oh. He says, Doc, that's unbelievable. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Doc. What do I owe you? Just help me find that bug. You don't owe me nothing.
On the house.
Lady calls Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson, you got to take Johnny home from school. He's got to stay home for a week. He's got to be punished. She says, why? He says, Johnny was peeing in the school pool. She says, come on, I'm sure there's a lot of kids pee in the school pool. She says, not from the high diving boy. Someone comes to the door and says, hey kid, where's your mother? She's out back making out with the goat. They walk around back and there's the kid's mother's making out with a goat. He says, kid, doesn't that bother you? He says, nah. Guys, the bartender, I don't know about my daughter, man. My whole family, I don't know. I must raise them wrong. My daughter's out of control. Bartender's like, what? He says, yesterday, high school biology, everybody was dissecting frogs. She was opening flies. Then I came home, I caught my kid masturbating. I said, Harry, don't do that. You're going to go blind. He says, then I'm going to do it till I need glasses. So the first hen says, I get $2.50 a dozen for my eggs. This farmer sells my eggs for $2.50 a dozen. Second hen says, yeah, well, my eggs are bigger. And the farmer sells them for $3 a dozen. The first hen says, so I'm going to bust my ass for 50 cents. What's the difference between a bass solo and a premature orgasm?
What?
You know they're coming, but there's nothing you can do about it. So there's a British soldier who has the assignment to stand outside Buckingham Palace at attention. 8-hour shifts they do. Full battle array. Perfectly at attention, fully groomed, hat, the whole deal. Summer, winter, doesn't matter. They stand at rigid attention for 8 hours at a time. And all of a sudden, one of these guys gets reported. He comes in front of the general, and the general says, it says you were jumping all around. You're supposed to stand like a wooden soldier and guard Buckingham Palace. Why were you jumping around? I'll tell you, General. I stood there. I stand every day like a rock. I don't move, no nothing. Rain, shine, wind, it don't matter, snow, ice. I just do it. I just do it. But I'll tell you, a cat came and took a poo on my shoulder, on my shoes. I didn't budge, sir. I stood there while that cat took a poo on my shoes. I stood there like a rock like that. And then a dog came along a few hours later, lifts his leg, and has a pee up and down my leg, a few times up and down. I didn't budge, sir. But when that squirrel ran up my pant leg and said, I think I'll eat one now and save one for later, I wasn't going to stand still. So guy goes to a psychiatrist, I'm freaking out. Every night I feel like there's a guy under my bed that's going to come up and beat me on the head with a hammer or chop me up or do something. Every night I have the horrible dream. I keep waking up all night. I think this guy under my bed's going to climb out and come up and choke me to death or something. Psychiatrist says, well, if you come to see me 3 or 4 times a week for $200 a visit, I think we could fix you. I think you could beat this thing in 4 or 5 months. I said, well, let me think about it. So he never sees a psychiatrist again for a week. Then one day, the psychiatrist walk along, and there's the guy, and he says, hey, you never came back. He says, didn't need to. I'm all set. Problem fixed. Psychiatrist says, who fixed it? Bartender? A bartender? How did he help you? He told me to cut the legs off my bed. So Dirty Johnny's standing there. His father comes out of the shower. He says, hey, Pop, what's that hanging right there? What is that thing? His son, that's a penis. In fact, son, it's a perfect penis. Next day, Dirty Johnny's playing with his girl next door. She says, take down your pants, Johnny. He takes down his pants. She says, what's that right there? He says, it's a penis. In fact, if it was 2 inches shorter, it'd be a perfect penis. So I didn't make you guys laugh very hard, but they're good jokes.
They're great jokes.
All right.
Jokes, yeah.
I did not want to interrupt you, but there's...
Hey, Tarantino had no problem.
No, I'll tell you why I was laughing. One night you were telling that joke.
I know.
And you couldn't get the joke out because you were laughing so hard, and that's what I was thinking about.
It's just so stupid. It's so stupid.
And you were going like this. You're going.
That on my album. On my album, I said, because I'm fucking freezing. And then after the joke, I said, it's funny. I told that to my grandmother. It's my grandmother, so I left out the fucking. And my grandmother said, I love that joke. course, the way I heard it, he said, "I'm fucking freezing."
I don't know
Joe's
where.
don't think of that.
I don't know where we were. We came in one night. You were telling that joke, and you couldn't get the joke out. You were laughing so hard.
You know, sometimes that just, you know, there's the old joke about I'll get you a banana for your monkey.
Oh,
For a year, I could not tell that to anybody because sometimes they just tickle you, you know. But
That's
thank
why,
you for having me
that's
again.
why I was
Hi,
laughing.
gang.
That's why I was laughing.
I guess Minervini's late, huh?
No, well, actually, two questions. Was Jackie's mic cracking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but you've changed your microphone, I think, and I think it's too hot. I don't know if you can lower the volume, but
Well, you know what? I'm using lately. I did podcasts with these earphones,
yeah.
and so I'm playing off of the microphone on the iPad, and everybody said it sounds better. But you should have said something right away because I could have just taken it off and put here.
Well, I should have, but I didn't want to interrupt the rhythm. But then I thought
I didn't want to get yelled at.
You know,
well, I thought you were going to do it
in this day and age,
you're the audio guy. You always
things
say
are so
something,
weird.
but your mic is too hot, I think.
You know, they change.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I'm going to announce this.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah, much
Now,
better.
because of
He
that,
should have
though,
said, all right, well, so we'll start over. So
that's what I'm thinking.
You know, plus, you know, sometimes they do upgrades and it upgrades your iPad overnight. And,
Yeah, I
and
should've stopped you.
they change something that affects everything. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, don't know, you know.
I should have
Like if all of a
stopped you. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not-
should have
so-
said something. Well, Tom, you're not that smart.
I know. Now, here's the other thing. I don't know if John approves this or not, but the plan was Zabrowski was supposed to Zoom in today. And because his name comes up at least once a day on the program, but he bailed out. Didn't say why, did he, John?
He goes, Caroline's not around. I don't know how to do this Zoom thing.
That's it.
So every 6 months or year, out of the clear blue sky, I get a voicemail. Hello, this is Jeff Zabrowski, and he leaves me a voicemail from Pluto. No rhyme, no reason, no nothing. Or I have an idea how to invent a new car. You know, I really should have saved them because they're so random and so stupid. I never call him back because I'm so scared he's going to be able to explain himself. You know, it's too crazy. But yeah, so now his name will definitely work its way back in. And I spoke to Minervini yesterday, and he said, "Oh, I will be calling in. I will be calling in." You know, he wasn't call.
He told me that he's in New York because his Kevin James's mother died and it was a funeral, so
Yeah,
he
well,
couldn't call in.
It's Richie's actually a suspect. No, he was just getting on a plane to go back. And
Oh, okay.
I said,
Well,
"Geez, I hope you lose."
Tell
your
Richie
man."
to send my condolences to Kevin.
Hey, Tom, can I tell a funny story that I'm reminded from John interrupting and messing up Jackie's joke?
You can do whatever you want,
All
Professor.
right. John Biner hosted Comedy on the Road. He told me this great story. He used to be on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he would do a set, and then he would go over and shake Ed's hand. And that week they had rehearsed a little bit where John would tell a story where how he went to the store and acted like Ed Sullivan. And then Ed had a line and they rehearsed it all week. And John Viner finishes his set, goes over, shakes Ed's hand, does his setup line about going to the store. And Ed Sullivan looked at him and said, went blank and said, "So how's your family?"
I can't get enough of that.
I can't get enough of that stuff. You know, John, you should have gone a little further and you should have interrupted Jackie and said, "You do realize that polar bears are endangered species." Okay, now continue the joke.
I just got this image of him telling that joke one night where he could not get the joke out, and he kept going, "I'm just laughing, man, because I know the ending." Right? He just couldn't tell, and that's what I flashed on with him telling. You've seen it.
Good news. There's good news and bad news to what you say. The bad news is polar bears are an endangered species. The good news is Ferentino is an endangered species. That's a great stupid joke. And I don't blame you, Ferentino. I just need to break it up a little bit. Enough with these stupid jokes. Dottie, we're still telling a few decent ones, right?
Yes, you are. Absolutely.
Yes.
You know what I just did? It's so funny. Now I haven't heard back from them. So I want to get 2, 4, 6, 7 of you. I want your vote on whether I screwed up. A guy named Sid Mandelbaum is a very good friend of mine, and he has an incredible charity. It started off very small, but now it's monstrous. It's called Rock and Wrap It Up. And they get the food after rock concerts for the homeless, for the churches. It's grown so huge that they have the food after movies, movie sets, TV sets, Major League Baseball, Major League Hockey, everybody in the world, all that food gets picked up and gets delivered. It's an incredible charity. So he's doing a streaming show on Halloween night. And he's got the children or whoever they are, the sons or daughters of the Allman Brothers, the original Zen Tricksters, the new riders of the Purple Sage. Sharon Osbourne is introducing. They got Phil Lesh from the original Grateful Dead. It's a whole potpourri of incredible people. But he knows me, he likes me. He says, listen, take it a little easy, but you don't have to be crazy easy and do jokes. And he wanted me to do 20 or 30 minutes. I said, no, I'm not. That's way too many. I'll do 7 or 8 minutes of jokes, and I'll take it easy. So I did, and got it to him right away as an MP4, great file, great quality. And I haven't heard back from him or the producer, except for the fact I know the guy got it. It was not dirty. There's nothing, everything I said, I'm sure would fly on a cruise ship, musician jokes and stuff. And all of a sudden I got this cold chill because a few of the jokes included pot. And my opening, I said, this is such a thrill to be part of the show. I smoked my first joint at Snyder Hall at Michigan State University in 1967, listening to the Jefferson Airplane's Surrealistic Pillow. So it's an honor to be among these people. There's no way in hell a Grateful Dead, Zen Tricksters, Purple Sage, these people, their first songs were about cocaine and pot. There's no way I stepped on my dick by mentioning that I smoked a joint, right? Or am I being crazy paranoid? No way, right? No way.
Especially since it's legal now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't
once
think
again,
that would be
you
a
never
problem.
know.
No, and they're also smoking. They've been smoking it for a while. This age group for cataracts and glaucoma and all kinds of stuff.
Right, and if they're not stoned, their parents were stoned. Their parents probably forgot to pick them up.
Jackie, the pot joke is no problem. The problem is probably they did a background check on you.
Wow, that I tried to run for mayor of Bayville. And they took a vote and they voted to throw me the fuck out of town. All right, are we gonna do this? You know what? Damn it, Tommy. I found the music, the actual music to The Amazing Mr. Knows a Lot. I actually have had a theme, and it's funny and it's fun. You you guys remember who Jim Teep was?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Mr. Bojangles.
Mr. Hold on. I wonder if it's right here. Holy Christ. It would be so funny. You know what? I'm not going to waste your time, but I'm going to send it for you. I was starting to say, are we doing Mr. Knows a Lot?
We can. We're on a little bit of a time, but we're plenty of time for that. And this is terribly selfish, but we're going to go vote after the show, and I've got a bunch of things to do to put the show on the air, repeat it. But we'd love to do. We all agree, Mr. Knows It All?
Yeah, let's do it. I have to go to the bathroom, but I don't care. Let's do it.
Mr. Odom, if you need to sneak out at 12:15, you are relieved of your duty.
I'm glad to see where I stand in your priorities. We only have 14 weeks till we can vote. Let's get Jackie off the air.
Story.
All right, here we go. I got 7, and we got 7. Everybody gets to play.
Okay.
All right, number 1 will be for you, Dottie. I'll read them first. The Amazing Mr. Knows a Lot, Show Business and Sex, Truth, or Bullcrap. This is number 6 for the Balls Against the Wall podcast or whatever this is. Number 1, stewardesses is the longest word that is typed with only the left hand. Number 2, the dot over the small letter I is called a tittle. Number 3, the erection of a camel actually has a bone in it. Number 4, Firehouses have circular stairways because running in circles sobers up the firemen. Number 5, elephants and Oprah are the only animals that can't jump. Number 6, the strongest muscle in the body is the tongue. And number 7, the only 4 words in the English language that end in DOUS are tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. All right, let's begin. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Yep.
Dottie, you're first. Stewardesses is the longest word that is typed only with the left hand. True or bullcrap?
True.
That is true. Coincidentally, it was often a stewardess that replaced many a right hand. Okay, number 2, Tom.
All right.
The dot over the small letter I is called a tittle.
That's false.
That is absolutely true.
True.
The little red dot on an Indian woman's forehead means coffee's ready. Okay, Fertino. Number 3. The erection of a camel actually has a bone in it. Truth
True.
or bullcrap?
True.
False.
Ah.
The erection of Tony Bennett hasn't had a bone in it since Woodstock. Okay, BJ. Firehouses have circular stairways because running in circles sobers up the firemen. Truth
I
or
will
bullcrap?
say bullcrap.
That is bullcrap. Patently untrue. 10 or 15% of all firemen rarely drink before sundown. Now, here's a little FYI. The real reason firehouses have circular stairways is from the days of yore, when the engines were pulled by horses. The water spouters were pulled by horses. The horses were stabled on the ground floor of the firehouses, and they actually figured out how to walk up straight staircases. This is true. So circular stairways were installed, and they always had the fire poles for speed to get downstairs and get to the fire.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later that the fire poles were installed at Scores and other gentlemen's clubs, where the horses now showed up with their gargantuan hard-ons, but are rarely let in because most of them are pulling handsome carriages with horny tourists in them. Okay. This is for you, Joe Silky. You haven't said a fucking word. Elephants and Oprah are the only animals that can't jump.
False.
That is true. And a little known fact is that Oprah is very jealous of the elephant because she can't feed herself with her nose.
Oh, God.
All right, Mike, you bully. The strongest muscle in the body is the tongue. Truth or bullshit? Bullcrap.
I'm going to go with true on that one.
Absolutely true.
Wow.
The weakest muscle in Peter Fogel's body is his brain. Weeks I spent trying to remember that guy's name. Weeks and weeks. I told you, we're riding up, we're on our way to Mr. Rips one day, and Fogel out of the Clear Blue Sky says, "Jackie, have you ever had an original thought in your life?" And Wood said, "Pal, if Martling never open his mouth again, he's already got all of his feet. So shut the fuck up." Greatest compliment. Maybe the only compliment I ever got from Wood. All right, Professor Bales. I have in my hand the last truth or bullcrap. Yay. The only 4 words in the English language that end in DOUS are tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous.
You, sir, are dissembling. That means false.
Is absolutely true. And coincidentally, all of these words can be used to describe the female center of the universe, the vagina. Tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. All right, we got to go now because Tom has a hangnail. It's so insulting.
I apologize.
He beat you. Ferentino, I thought that you were the most insulting person on the show today, and Tom beat you hands down.
At least he didn't lie and say he had an exterminator coming today.
Why, he did that to somebody?
Oh, yeah, he's done that before.
Yeah,
I did.
Jesus. Who are you going to get rid of? Joe Silky? Oh, so listen to this. So I'm working with a guy who can say, I don't know about you guys, but they've always said that after 10 years, your tapes are no good. They go bad. So I gave this guy a tape from CW Post from 1987, and it was like new, and he saved it. And it's a show at CW Post with me and Gary and Fred Norris dressed as a Nazi. It's like incredible. So I said, what the hell? And I gave him a couple of tapes. I got an entire show of me at Mr. Rips in 1986. You know how long ago that was? You got you now. Who, John? You must have worked Mr. Rips, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
I can't wait to see it. Just the nostalgia of seeing it. And like in your mind, it was the greatest club in the world. I'm sure it was just like a pit stop with nobody paying attention, you know. But it'll be fun, you know. I'll bring a snippet.
All right, we can use a snippet. And I feel bad now, but I did take a poll before you got here, Jackie. Everybody agreed we'd go home early, so I'm not alone here.
I agree. No, I agree. It should stop right at 12. You originally said I was on every day, every Friday at 11:30. So I put out the word for the last 8 weeks that I'm on at 11:30. Anybody tuned in at 11:30 had to go get a snack and whack off, waiting for me to come on. So is it 11:40?
You also said originally you would do 5 jokes. And then you said, I'll do 7 jokes. And as the emails went back and forth, it was 12, 15.
I'd be thrilled to do less.
No, we don't want you to do. We don't want you to. We don't want you to do less.
No, but it's your show. I think it gets old after 8 jokes. I tell you the truth. I didn't know exactly what you wanted me doing. You got to communicate with me. I'm alone here. You guys get to talk among yourselves, and I'm out here on an island. You know, say Jackie do 5, Jackie do 10, or Jackie shut up. You know, just give me some feedback.
But do what you want to do. We love it.
Just so you know, I try to get Bales finished, but he never stops. He just never. And then we get the Barbara Eden stuff going on, and it drags and it drags. And I'm doing.
Well, see the difference. Well, Bales is talking to you, and he's being a professor. There's no pressure on him to get laughs. If he had to get laughs, he'd be bailing out at 20 after 11. You know, he'd be looking for his hat at 10 after 10. Yeah. There's no pressure on him. He just
I don't think
Peter, on and on.
Peter's never felt pressure to make people laugh.
You're talking to me. You know.
Fortunately, I have.
People say, "How come Bale's open shit for you?" I say, "Because he's a very good friend." He said, "What's the real reason?"
All right,
Bales is very, very funny. They all know your story, right? Our story together.
Which one?
Have you told it a million times?
Which one?
About I want to save the world.
Oh no, I haven't told. I don't think I've told that on here.
Next week, Bales has a great story. That's called a teaser, Dottie.
I know that.
You know, I have no idea what Dottie looks like. I can't even. I have no cleavage. I can't see her face. I have no. She could be a guy. She could be a girl. She could be twins. I have no idea. Everybody I ask says you're very beautiful, but I've never seen a picture of you. Send me a nudie. Send me a nudie.
She's married to Tom though, so she knows what a teaser is.
Oh, now that's not nice. Come on. I heard Tom had a hard on back in 2003.
All right, we're out of here. Jackie, we love you. Everybody loves you. Do as many
Cameo.com/Jackie Martling. Cameo.com/Jackie Martling. I did 14 of them this week. It's so much fun. So it does help me if you plug it. So Cameo.com/Jackie Martling. I will say happy, you know, the more people are shut in, you know, and they can't go see each other. So it's a fun thing. It's stupid, you know. Well, but this is always a pleasure. Thank you for including me. And next week we're doing 4 jokes.
Okay, shut up.
If you want more, you're gonna fucking beg.
You couldn't do 4 You couldn't do 4 jokes if you were on your deathbed.
I'm gonna do 4 jokes before I hang up.
Okay. Well, the music ran out. What happened to the music?
Just a reminder for our regular guests, next week we have Sandy Cares coming back with Name That Tree.
Oh, perfect.
Just so you know. Is that exciting or what, Jackie?
You want to tune in for that, Jackie?
If I'm being bumped by Name That Tree, I'm going to have to put a bullet in my fucking
She's on
eye.
Tuesday. She's on Tuesday.
I don't care if she's on Monday. Name that tree.
Name that tree. I'd rather name that bush.
Jesus. Very funny.
All right, I just want to say my one last thing. I think it's inappropriate. We're all laughing about polar bears that are threatened in their survival.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to my happy place.
You know what's really funny is I was doing my jokes yesterday, and they're literally in my office here. I live in the middle of nowhere. There are crickets.
Yeah.
And I can literally hear the crickets after Bale says something. Not figuratively. I mean.
All right, we'll take it out with Belzer's song. Jackie, as many jokes as you want. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, kids.
Thank you, Mike.
Have a good weekend,
Send me a
everybody.
picture. Send me your wedding picture, Tom.
Okay, we'll do.
When you married Ferrantino.
All right. See everybody. Have a great weekend. We're going to go.
Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
See you later. All right. Take care. We're out of here.